The boys somehow created a barrier. Around the same time, certain people gained unique powers and were known as hunters. With the hunters' hard work, it seemed like peace was restored. However, they were unaware that a far greater threat was looming. Suddenly, a new and terrifying challenge emerged, the most dangerous yet. This was the Chaos Gate. Even with the combined efforts of many hunters, closing the gate proved impossible. Humanity faced the risk of total destruction. Then the legendary hunters stepped up. These were the world's 12 most powerful individuals, with unmatched abilities. Soon they overcame the disaster called the Chaos Gate, earning their place as humanity's saviors. Their heroic tales spread worldwide, and they were dubbed the 12 Apostles. A message soon confirmed that the Chaos Gate was fully cleared. Someone glanced at her wristwatch, noting that 79 hours 17 minutes and 8 seconds have passed since entering, and all monsters were defeated. A short girl collapsed on the ground, exhausted, saying she couldn't go on. A woman with a pixie cut commended everyone's efforts. She mentioned that the Chaos Gate wouldn't reopen for a century, meaning this was likely the final gathering of the 12 Apostles. She asked what their future plans were. One person shared that she was off to Hawaii for a much-needed break. A blonde man mentioned he had 4 commercials for hunter gear lined up, while a green-eyed guy said he focused on inventing to his heart's content. A blue-eyed blonde, known as the Thunder Emperor, was asked the same question. He's the story's main protagonist. An old man, observing his hesitation, assumed the Thunder Emperor was still undecided. He remarked that their immense power was a heavy burden, as even a small mistake could cause disastrous outcomes. He was about to offer guidance to this seemingly uncertain young man. Extending his hand, he proposed they find the true purpose of being a hunter together. Surprisingly, the Thunder Emperor quickly rejected the suggestion, casually stating he was done with it all. The old man instinctively said he expected as much, but then confusion set in. Silence fell over the group. The Thunder Emperor wondered why they were so surprised. Another blonde man asked if he was serious. Eventually they respected his choice to walk away. They then asked what he planned to do next. He quietly mentioned something about a writer. Curious, they pressed in for details. With excitement, he declared he'd become a web novel writer in a completely different world and era. A man later took a stage, telling a crowd. He closed his speech with a quote from his book. He explained that before writing, picture sharing your story with someone face to face. He stressed that the listener must stay engaged, as fun is the top priority in web novels. Repeated 3 times for emphasis. 6 months after the Chaos Gate's sealing, the Thunder Emperor was diligently studying to become a novelist. After watching something he called it impressive, he felt his mind brimming with creative ideas. Confident he was meant to write, either to start while inspired. He was interrupted when someone forcefully shut his laptop. It was his friends inviting him for drinks after his study session. He explained he had a deadline the next day. Understanding his friends left him to his work initially. They crafted words for him as he hoped they'd reach home safely. That day the Thunder Emperor was in high spirits. He thought it might be what James Patterson described as crafting a masterpiece. Unbeknownst to him, something stirred behind him. The waitress, looking exhausted, announced that customer number 18's rice latte was ready. The latte belonged to our MC, who had already downed several. After a sip, he felt refreshed, while the waitress in the background seemed worn out. She dreaded washing all those cups. Riding a wave of inspiration, the Thunder Emperor raced toward his deadline. He slipped on his headphones and let classical music play. So engrossed in his work, he didn't notice a tentacle monster emerging behind him. Outside, people were panicking as he typed on. Another tentacle smacked the window, but the Thunder Emperor stayed unaware. He was thrilled, nearing completion, while someone gripped by the monster faced imminent harm. The MC kept writing his script, feeling he just needed a perfect closing line. Meanwhile, the monster spotted him. He ended to finish with flair. As the monster lifted its tentacles and the Thunder Emperor prepared to hit enter, glass shattered behind him from a tentacle strike. He froze as his laptop crashed and broke. The restaurant was in chaos from the tentacle's destruction. The Thunder Emperor sat motionless. He approached his laptop, trembling, and reached for the detached monitor. He dropped to his knees, staring at his ruined device. While the monster rampaged behind him, he despaired. The Thunder Emperor's fury surged as his manuscript was lost. A tentacle lunged to strike, but he unleashed a lightning bolt from his body. The tentacle charred and the massive monster collapsed, defeated. He muttered to the octopus to wake up. Fueled by rage, he stomped on, sparking lightning from his hands, saying it wasn't crispy enough. Lightning flashed. A woman screamed in pain as Jason floated in a pool, electrocuted by the sudden strike. It was a TV drama. A woman lounging and watching remarked on the wild twist. She found it crazy that the male lead was electrocuted and died. She loved the drama's shocking turns. This woman in Crimson Flame, or Tycho, an S-rank hunter, was judged by a teen at the coach's end. He called her a mess. He was the youngest of the Tai siblings. Named Tai Jun, he was a high schooler. Crimson Flame Tai Iko ranked among the nation's top hunters. She led the 7th Division of Guardian Gate, a top-tier guild. With her delicate looks and sharp fashion sense, she was a beloved icon in the hunter world. But at home, her demeanor shifted. Her brother switched the channel, interrupting her. He doubted anyone would peg her as Crimson Flame. Tycho stood scolding him for cutting into a key scene. She complained he was ruining her rare downtime. He retorted that as a freelancer she had no real work. Aiden told her to help with chores, or go exercise if she was staying home. Crimson Flame brushed him off, then her phone buzzed. They both glanced at it, a map of district office alert. Warned of a sudden gate in the area, urging everyone to head to the nearest shelter. The news declared the area a red zone, and everyone was talking about the map of district. Crimson Flame set out immediately. Tai Jean asked if she'd been called, but she said no, just that she felt compelled to go. Tai Iko shifted her aura, again now radiating the presence of a true S-rank hunter. He grinned, teasing her about duty calling, but Tai Jun said she didn't have to go. When she asked why, he explained Jun had sent their household freeloader on a task there, though they quickly called him a failed existence instead. Meanwhile, the Thunder Emperor was in distress. His laptop and hard drive completely destroyed. Signing his bad luck, he sat on the defeated monster, feeling awful since it was his debut work, and today was meant to be his big moment. He dreamed his first work would be a huge success, launching him as a dazzling super rookie, destined to rise as a famous author. He imagined winning the Web Novel of the Year award, giving lectures, and entering his golden age. That's how he planned his future. The MC was furious and heartbroken, his body shaking with rage. He shouted that grilling a few octopuses wouldn't cover this loss. In a flash he turned Super Saiyan, vowing to make them pay the full debt. He declared they'd messed with the wrong guy, then hunted for the boss monster, spotting a dark aura in the distance and heading straight for it. Unit 1 in the area reported all monsters were handled. Civilians were evacuated and they clean up the rest. They were told to finish the job properly. One person warned another that time was running out, and the other urged him to keep going. Someone noted that for a sudden gate it wasn't too bad, crediting the captain's immense power. They were talking about Marshal G, and a rank hunter and captain of the 4th Division's Emergency Response Unit Guardian. He told his unit to cut the chatter and prepare to face the boss, expecting it to appear any second. One member asked why worry, boasting that an A-rank captain could easily handle an A-rank gate boss. CFG warned them not to get cocky or let their guard down as monsters approached during their talk. Sergei stressed they couldn't predict when or where an enemy might strike, urging them to stay in formation. Then a Hydra-like monster appeared, shocking them. It swung its tail, nearly crushing them. They were stunned to see a Hydra in an A-rank gate and noticed something when it raised its tail. It exposed injured Sergei's face, darkened, realizing someone had been knocked back, fueling anger. They were warned the boss monster and a rank Hydra had emerged. The unit was ordered to unleash everything they had. The Hydra spotted them, smashing the building they were in. Sika realized this gate wasn't just a rank with a monster like that. He knew it was perilous and they needed reinforcements to avoid casualties. The Hydra was already preparing another attack. Sergei knew they couldn't withstand it. One head fired a powerful beam across the area. The men on the ground braced together to dodge it, expecting burns, but their captain blocked the attack. Silky was drained, realizing they couldn't just wait. They had to stall until help arrived. The issue was that even one head had mere top-tier power, and if all 9 attacked together, survival was nearly impossible. It already taken heavy damage, but Sergei refused to surrender. As long as people needed saving and he had strength left, he was determined to fight. He gathered all his power, unleashing his skill power crash, causing a massive explosion. His hammer struck a powerful blow. He was shocked to see it hit two heads, understanding what that meant. One head was poised to strike Suk-Jai. He glanced back and unleashed a beam. See if Jai hit the ground hard, badly hurt. He refused to give up. The heads united their strength, forming a massive orb of light. He realized its impact would destroy everything around. CFJ could only swear in frustration. A sudden lightning bolt shattered the beam. Sergei was stunned by the event. He noticed a figure cloaked in lightning. This man glided down with wings of electricity. It was the Super Saiyan MCCFG, felt as if a deity stood before him. The Thunder Emperor had located the boss monster. He questioned if they understood their mistake. He said if they could speak, they should at least try to justify themselves. The Hydra seemed intimidated but lunged at him anyway. Seeing their choice, the Thunder Emperor declared they needed a lesson. He lifted his hand, gathered lightning in his palm and struck one head with a lightning-charged arm. The blow was so strong it twisted the head aside. The Thunder Emperor yelled about his laptop as he hit another head. He grunted about his manuscript ruined because of the monster. He demanded to know how it would fix this. By now he was treating it like a punching bag. He paused, saying above all he was done. The monster trembled, fearing the next move snap of his fingers. The Thunder Emperor channeled all this energy, lamenting his lost chance to debut. The Hydra was incinerated. It was hard to feel sorry for a monster beaten relentlessly and burned to ashes. The attack's force spread over a vast area. The Thunder Emperor muttered that Yoon roasting it didn't satisfy him. He groaned that his deadline was tomorrow with no hope of rewriting everything. Minutes later, the men on the ground began to wake. They had fainted and were clueless about what happened. Then they spotted their captain. They were glad he was alive. They agreed to wait for the rescue team. One man pointed out something. They saw the Hydra's corpse. The MC had struck it so hard it left a mark on its face. Another noticed bruising on its cheek, deducing it was hit powerfully and killed instantly. They turned to the captain. They assumed he was responsible. He tried to deny it but fainted again. Reporter Kim Gami at Seoul Mapogu Hospital stated that an A-rank gate, the first in Korea in 2 years, spawned an AA rank Hydra as his boss. He shared that CFG and a rank hunter faced the monster alone and won. He referred to CFGI as Bulldozer. The Hydra battle video on YouTube reportedly hit 100 million views quickly. It was noted that CFGI, who bravely defeated the beast and protected people, would be sidelined for 14 weeks with lasting vocal cord damage. They said his vocal cord injuries stem from shouting insults at the Hydra at a key moment. Then the TV shut off. In a boardroom, people discussed the event. One suggested recruiting Suk-Ji, who defeated an AA rank Hydra, into the Suo Guild. Another argued against it, noting Suk-Ji was only a rank. Someone countered that he might soon be S rank. They added few hunters have such strength and CFG values being a protector. The debate continued. A nerdy girl from the panel who saw the news was mentally criticizing Ah-hyun while others talked. She struggled to conceal her anger as she pondered what he might be doing. To her, he seemed utterly unrestrained. She realized that if Du Huang even guessed that Brainstorm was the one who cleared the gate, it would cause trouble. An elderly man questioned the panel, asking if they truly believed a single hunter could have defeated it. He stated he didn't believe. This individual was Guildmaster Du Huang alongside Ju Hyusu and S rank. It was amusing because, as mentioned, he'd just been thinking about Du Huang had already pieced it together. He asked her if she agreed. She pretended not to know. He found it hard to believe an 8-day rank Hydra was taken down by just an A-rank hunter. To him, it brought to mind a particular legendary hunter. He noted that he was overlooked, and then Du Huang vanished. Now he had finally revealed himself. He was referring to the Thunder Emperor. Du Huang chose to visit him in person. Meanwhile, the Thunder Emperor shook. He was seated opposite a man reading a manuscript. The man called our hero Ah-hyun in his normal state, and from now on, we'll call our protagonist Ah-hyun. The man set the manuscript aside. He informed Ah-hyun it wouldn't do. This was an editor from Gold Label Publishing's third editing team. His name was Kyu Kyung Mo. He told Ah-hyun it lacked appeal. The setting was fine, but yet again the monster was killed in one blow. He pointed out a major lack of realism, warning that if it persisted, readers wouldn't connect, would lose interest, and abandon the story. Ayun explained he tried hard to make it captivating. Kokyang Mo read aloud about the cameras, describing brain matter bursting and splattering. He sighed, clarifying he didn't want more vivid details. He asked Ah-hyun if he'd seen the morning news. Then he mentioned a guardian Hunter who saved people during a sudden gate breach and nearly died. Here's a hand to picture a low-ranking hunter, not even a high ranker, risking everything to save ordinary folks. The depiction was heroic. Kokyum-o imagined it was a fierce and desperate fight, and even if people didn't see it themselves, they felt it. That's why the hunter's name would stick with everyone. Even without being there, it was as if they grasped the hunter's thoughts completely. Kokyum-o emphasized that this created empathy and immersion, and Hyun seemed to have a revelation. He apologized, admitting he'd never considered it that way. Seeing Ihun's realization, Kokyangmo decided to act. He granted him 1 more week to revise. Ihun expressed deep gratitude. He vowed to get it right. Kokyangmo warned him to deliver, or else, if it still wasn't engaging, he should brace for contract termination. Hearing this, Hyun sweated profusely, stunned at the thought of losing his contract. A heavy sigh filled the room. It came from Hyun as he stepped into the house where Ijun called him a slacker and asked if he just arrived. Hyun slumped onto the couch and sighed again. His moans and groans annoyed Ijun. Ijun punched Hyun, saying he looked like he was about to keel over. He asked what was wrong now. Hyun sought advice. He shouted that he might lose his job. Ijun summed it up. If Hyun boxed his revisions again, his contract would be cancelled. He had to make it more realistic. But Hyun was clueless about how to write. Ijun asked what he written before. Hyun recounted how he had an A-rank monster squad obliterated in 1 strike, but the editor called it unrealistic. Then he noted they weren't even S-rank, so he questioned why it seemed far-fetched. That made Ijun sigh. Ijun asked if Hyun had ever fought. Irritated, Hyun yelled yes. Ijun asked when, and Hyun said during the Chaos Gate, battling beasts of destruction for semi-hours straight, which was grueling. Ijun wasn't impressed by his example. He asked Hyun how many legendary hunters exist worldwide. Hyun answered 12. Ijun then asked how many could relate to a legendary hunter's experience. Hyun repeated 12. Ijun clarified that half the world's hunters are ranked F to C. Achieving a high rank as a hunter brings immense wealth, a transformed lifestyle, and for S rankers not just money, but significant influence, placing them above major corporations. He explained such a rank carries immense prestige, so he challenged Hyun, questioning whether people could truly connect with a legendary hunter's tale. Readers imagine themselves as the protagonist, which is why they enjoy stories where the main character begins at their level and grows stronger. He clarified for writing such a story, he asked Hyun where to begin. Hyun was clueless. Ijun shouted that it was about research, urging Hyun to study and observe how ordinary hunters battle. Hyun, no longer a hunter, asked where to go. Frustrated, Ijun decided to walk away, but Hyun pleaded for his brother's help. Ijun suggested visiting the Korean Hunter Association, confident that if Hyun asked, the chairman would assist him. He reminded Hyun that he's the Thunder Emperor, Korea's sole legendary hunter, who battled the beasts of destruction. Hyun nodded, recalling his title at the Korean Hunter Association building. Chairman Park Dahan shouted that this was his point, noting that since last year's demotion warning to rank 2, they've consistently cleared national gates and excelled in training new recruits. He then mentioned the crisis in France, where their team's aid saved a city from ruin. He added that Germany sought their hunter training expertise, which they provided willingly. The person on the screen coughed, but Dahan kept yelling, furious that their rank adjustment was rejected. He called it absurd. Another voice said it was unavoidable, pointing out that Dahan lacks a legendary hunter. This was Gulshan Grover, the Indian Hunter Association chairman, who noted that 11 nations, including India, support legendary hunters, unlike Korea, where the Thunder Emperor retired abruptly. He questioned how Korea manages its hunters, assuming it was so poorly that a national powerhouse vanished without cause. Dahan insisted it was a personal decision. Gulshan brushed off his excuses, stating that only nations with legendary hunters can claim Tier 1 status. Dahan asked for a Tier 2 rank instead. Gulshan suggested ending the meeting, deciding to revisit Korea's rank adjustment later. The meeting closed and Dahan cursed the others, angry that they accepted their help but now dismissed them. His secretary urged him to calm down, mentioning other appointments. Dahan asked about the next item on his schedule. His secretary mentioned a meeting with the Scorpion Guild, which responded to his cooperation request, but cautioned against it due to their low tier status and rumors of attacking rival guilds, likely using association support to control high high-level gates. The secretary feared it would harm the association's reputation. Daham reminded Wu that, as the Korean Hunter Association, they must meet any recognized guild. Deep down, Daham disliked the Scorpion Guild, knowing other guilds would criticize the association if they collaborated. Suddenly, he noticed an enraged security guard. He asked the security chief about the disturbance. The chief explained that someone in the lobby was causing a scene, demanding to meet him, claiming to be a convenience store owner's son. Dahan scoffed at the person. The chief apologized, but the man kept mentioning Tai Yong Yai Con Venen store, insisting the chairman would understand. Park Da-hyun froze his face, showing he recognized the name Taeyong Day, the convenience store's son, as a Hyun, the Thunder Emperor and retired legendary hunter. He instructed the security chief to contact the downstairs team to say he was on his way, then rushed off. He frantically pressed the elevator button, cursing its failure, and shouted at security to stop the man from leaving at all costs. Switching to the stairs, he ran as if his life depended on it. Meanwhile, a black car pulled up and a man who looked like a mafia member stepped out. Noting the building's extravagance and the association's display of wealth, the man was Ju Jin Nam, Scorpion Guild's guild master. Pleased that the tough Park Da-han agreed to meet them, a guild member toasted Jin Nam, who bragged about his large donation, forcing Park Da-hwan's hand. Suddenly, Park Da-hwan burst out of the staircase exit and Jin Nam remarked on his barefoot haste. Jin Nam waved, calling out to Park Da-han, while Park Da-han shoved him aside, telling him to move. Jin Nam stumbled dramatically like Team Rocket, blasting off Park Da-han, then yelled at security to step back, not knowing who he was addressing, and the staff apologized while Jin Nam stood confused by the dismissal. Park Da-hwan grabbed Ae Hyun's shoulders, shaking him and apologizing for his late arrival. Admitting he thought Ae Hyun wouldn't come, he asked what brought him there, and Ae Hyun said he had something to discuss. Park Tae-hyun, barely hiding a sly grin, assuming Ae Hyun still cared about the Hunter Association, envisioning their nation reclaiming glory with the legendary hunter. But Hyun requested a tour, and Park Dae-han, caught off guard, automatically agreed, ordering preparations for it. Confusion hit Park Dae-han when Hyun's tour request sank in. Hyun explained he wanted to watch regular hunters in action closely, offering to grant Park Dae-han one request in return. Hours later, Park Dae-han outlined a contract. If the association helped gather research for Ae Hyun's writing, Ae Hyun would act as Brainstorm. Brainstorm was a human's superhero alias, and he asked if there was a better way to observe firsthand. Park Da-han said there was, suggesting a job perfect for Ae Hyun's needs. Thinking Brainstorm's return could boost Korea's global standing, Park Da-han saw an unmissable chance and assigned Ae Hyun as a gate helper. When Ae Hyun asked about it, Park Da-han described it as a role for F-rank hunters, involving loop retrievals, securing escape routes, and rarely assisting in combat, mostly waiting in the back. Some helpers even had time for picnics. Park Da-han added, calling it ideal for observing hunters. Hyun was thrilled, unaware such a role existed, and Park Da-han noted helpers wouldn't be at deadly high-rank missions. Hyun confirmed it was exactly what he wanted. Park Da-han double-checked if he was fine with being a helper, and Hyun told him to send details to the Jonda convenience store. Then Hyun leaped from the high-rise, shattering a window in Park Da-han's building. As he left, the secretary questioned if Brainstorm was truly like that, and Park Da-han reprimanded her for her words, admitting the man was a bit odd, but still a vital hope for Korea. Hyun was thrilled to reach his destination, a C-ranked guild called Galamance. Siwon excited to discover the world of real hunters there, determined to write with authenticity. This time Ai Helen opened the door and eagerly introduced himself. Inside he found two men lounging amidst scattered trash bags. The man on his phone noticed him, recalling that a gate helper was due that day. The sleeping man jolted awake, mistakenly thinking a gate had opened. The other man corrected him and then remembered it was the day. The previously sleeping man approached Hyun, explaining their busy schedule. Hyun was eager to experience a real guild. The man offered his hand, introducing himself as Mansi Song, the guild master of Gala. Mansi Song. I haven't shook it warmly with both hands and shared his own name. Mansa Song explained that as a C-rank guild, they had only 3 members, when I haven't asked about the third. Mansa Song said he was currently dispatched. I haven't likened it to the 12 apostles being sent abroad. Mansa Song lamented that it was unfortunate. I haven't ended up in such a place. Ihun asked why, and the man on his phone said their office hardly resembled a proper guild. He noted they've been stuck at C rank forever, with no significant income. Barely scraping by. Mansi Song told him not to make it sound so bleak. The man insisted he was just being honest, and asked why Mansi Song was upset. I have observed that the two seem very close, like comrades bonded over time. Mansi Song proudly confirmed they've been through a lot together. He jokingly said he was tired of it, and the other man, annoyed, said he felt the same. Ahian fought thick and thin salmon impressed. Like true hunters, his imagination soared. Mansi Song flustered wondered if that's how it seemed to an F rank. The other man smoothly claimed they exuded a veteran aura. Ihaven remarked that their camaraderie must make their teamwork stellar and as when they enter a gate. Mansi Seong puzzled said they had no plans to go. Shocked, Ihaven dropped his pen and notebook, confused as it was a hunter guild.
Oj, han liste ned Osman.
Sian explained that low-tier guilds rarely got chances to participate. I can ask what he should do there. Man Song, casually picking his nose, said there was nothing to do. I can nodded, accepting that gates didn't open daily. He offered to take on any task, promising to do his best. The other man suggested cleaning. Man Song scolded him as it was his duty that day. Rejecting the idea, the man pointed out Iken's willingness. With 1 week until his contract ended, Ai Hyun was determined to find something real and leave the guild. He thought, just wait. Manuscript. The next day, with 6 days left, Hyun returned and eagerly asked about the day's plan. Mansi Song suggested cleaning the hallway, and Hyun agreed happily. 5 days before the contract's end, he asked if any gates were open. A guild member said if there were, he would be wiping windows. I haven't asked what to do. And the man handed him a white cloth, leaving him cleaning windows. 3 days before the contract ended, an exhausted Ai Hyun arrived. Mansi Hyun gave him a broom, looking like a zombie from cleaning. Ai Hyun, with 2 days left, realized he was doomed. The first day was fine, but he spent the whole week cleaning. Ai Hyun was spiraling, realizing he hadn't even started his manuscript. Not a single word written, driving him to the edge. In a certain building, a man stayed late at work, slaving away. He looked drained, like a zombie staring at his computer screen. A colleague offered him tea, and he took it gratefully from his junior. The junior asked if he was pulling another all-nighter because of that rookie again. Kyu Kyung Mo explained he was working on a report. His junior was shocked that Kyu Kyung Mo, the top-ranking sniper whose projects always soared, was stuck doing that. The junior questioned why Kyu Kyung Mo even bothered taking on a rookie. Putting himself through that word was. The rookie wasn't even that skilled. Kukyang Mo confessed he wasn't sure why he took it on either, but known to the rookie's writing had a raw desperation. He admitted he might be holding on to some hope. It was the last time he bet on it. The rookie they were discussing was our main character, Ai Hyun. On the final day before his contract ended, Ai Hyun was a wreck, convinced his current manuscript was doomed. His word count was 0, with no time left until his contract's end. I haven't seemed unhinged, even laughing as he thought he was utterly finished. He wondered what he'd do if he got dropped like that. The fear hit him that he might not publish anything for another decade. Suddenly, a man named Samsung told him to gear up. They'd been called to an emergency gate that afternoon. Ian, running on fumes, said he handled the gate cleanup and prep. When the details sank in, he got thrilled about the deployment. His eerie excitement showed on his face. He was back in high spirits, eager to witness real hunter combat firsthand. It dawned on him that this could finally fuel his manuscript. Then he noticed something off. 2 guild members looked troubled. He asked why they seemed so grim. A guild member sighed, explaining the gate was B rank. Ihun, confused, thought newbie ranks were simple. The guild member clarified that for a C rank guild like theirs, clearing a B rank gate alone was impossible. So 3 guilds had agreed to join forces for the mission. I even figured that was good since it lowered the danger. Mantashi agreed, but pointed out the issue. They were teaming up with Gang 1, Do Sox and Gate Valley of Wolves. Someone groaned about their back aching, and used to hiking up mountains after so long. Gala. Munsa Song's crew rumbled about the gate popping up out of nowhere. Munsa Song was thankful for the work, but baffled by what the rookie was doing. The rookie was marveling at every little detail, even obsessed with the rocks. Ordinary rocks. Munsa Song asked if he was investigating or something. A guild member suggested the rookie might just be jotting down notes. Then someone approached Ga Munsa Song, greeting Munsa. This guy was huge, from the C-ranked guild. Bold Gum, the guild master Richard Bear. Richard Bear told this guy to say hi to the so-called philanthropist of the guild world. Munsa Song looked irritated. One of Bulgum's men asked if he was the guild master of the C rank. Gala Munsa Song, the man said Munsa Song trained rookie hunters well, only for other guilds to swoop in and take them to twist the knife. Richard Bear told his guy not to say snatch, adding that no fool would train guild members, just to hand them over to others. Like that, a member of Mansi Seong's guild snapped, asking if they were done talking trash. He held back long enough, and called out Bulgum for poaching their rookies, now having the nerve to speak like that. Munsa Song was ready to unsheath his sword. Another of Munsa Song's guild members asked Richard Bear if stealing their people wasn't enough. Now he was starting to fight with another guild master. Richard Bear was frustrated, saying the guy was getting too bold, interrupting his elders. He wondered who else was senior besides Munsa Song. Seeing only troublemakers around, someone burst out laughing. Samurai C rank guildmaster from Guild Mantis found it funny that unknowns were arguing pointlessly. Guild Mantis remarked they were wasting effort. He sneered that once inside the gate, those guilds would be too busy helping to catch their breath. To rub it in, he told them to play support well for scraps. Nyan watched the chaos, thinking it was wild. The tense standoff before the gate was nerve-wracking, and Ah-hyun found he eagerly jotted notes capturing true realism. Suddenly, someone hit him on the head, asking why he hadn't introduced himself. The man grumbled about slow rookies, warning Ihan not to touch his chosen monster or face trouble. Ihan stared down the man who froze, terrified as if seeing death. Ihan noticed the mistake, acting tame and saying he remembered the warning. Ihan excitedly noted the power struggles among helpers. The guy who bit him fled. Mansi Hyung then called Ae Hyun. Mansi Hyung reminded Ae Hyun to stay alert and survive. As they prepared to leave, soon a wolf-like monster attacked. Mantis Yang faced it, but a bull guild member struck first. Mantis Yang slipped and fell, scolding the man for his risky move. The man snapped at Mantis Yang to strike first if he didn't like it. The man argued everyone needed their share and Mantis Yang was too slow. Mansi Seon's guildmate cut a monster, but Richard Bear unbalanced him before landing the final hit. Richard Bear claimed the kill. Hein was stunned, questioning if this was normal for hunters. The scene was pure chaos, with hunters fighting monsters and each other. Some battled over dead monsters. Others brutally cut down rivals. It was Ahen's first time seeing such a bizarre fight. Ryan called it easy and ideal, praising exclusive rights. With exclusive rights, they set their strategy. They let weaker hunters handle small enemies, while their guild targeted the boss. Ryan called it an efficient raid. Right then, a massive wolf-like boss monster appeared, exciting the guild they prepared. Ryan grinning wickedly, thinking a B rank promotion was close. Defeating the boss would prove he was above the rest. They charged, slashing the monster repeatedly. The monster was cut all over and fell. Ryan said striking felt incredible, a life-changing moment. He declared no one could belittle him now. As he moved to finish a larger, fiercer monster emerged, everyone froze in fear. It was a ranked dire wolf. While others panicked, Ae Hyun was happy to see the familiar beast, recalling hurting them in an S-rank game. The dire wolf charged, swiftly attacking. Most of Mantis Guild round was in disbelief. Unable to process it, they realized their mistake. The old members fled, shouting about a gate change, a sudden rank spike from a high-level boss. The A-rank dire wolf terrified them all. A rank represents an insurmountable barrier of skill that even B-rank hunters cannot surpass. It was unthinkable for a gate to shift in such a place. The odds of C-rank hunters surviving in an AA-rank gate are even slimmer than those of an ordinary person. Inside a gate, a dire wolf attacked. He unwound it. Multiple dire wolves turned the area into a gruesome defeat. The hunters cried out for rescue. Meanwhile, Raoul stood paralyzed, reeling from losing his shot and becoming a B rank. He couldn't come to terms with it. He reflected on all he had endured to reach that point. Clutching his sword tightly, he charged straight at a dire wolf. He refused to perish so easily. He struck the dire wolf, but with a single blow, he was hurled across to the other side. Chaos erupted. Hunters fled for their lives, shouting for aid. One hunter faced being devoured. Bogum pushed another hunter aside to clear his path. Amid the panic, someone shouted for them to pull themselves together. It was Mansi Song. He explained that a gate change is reported to the association right away, so they should stay calm and focus to survive. The hunters heeded Mansa Song, as he assured them that if they hid well, the association's dispatched hunters would save them. Mansi Siong declared he would hold off the threat to give them time to escape. They were moved by the guild master of Gala Mansi Siong's sacrifice. They expressed gratitude and apologized, and scattered to save themselves. Some justified their flight, citing families waiting for them. Deep down though, Mansi Siong knew he couldn't defeat those beasts. Still he believed he could delay them enough for others to get away. It resolved to buy time. Then someone remarked that Mansi Song was acting heroic alone, joking that onlookers might mistake him for one of the 12 apostles. It was his guild mate who said that if it had come to this, they'd at least go down the flare. Mansa Song asked if he was fine with such a pointless death. The guild mate replied that death wasn't certain yet, and told Mansa Song to stop acting like a war movie hero. They called their rookie, urging him to flee, offering an apologetic smile. Mansi Song expressed regret to Ai Hun for dragging him there. Ai Hun was taken aback but began to grasp that some must flee to live, while others are fated to fall. Yet a battlefield is where they stand and fight prepared to die. He saw this as reality's truth. With that epiphany the boy thanked them. Then Mansi Song and his guild mate collapsed. A dire wolf closed in. Mansi Hyung urged Sean Jo to escape, but he was stunned to see lightning flash above the rookie. Lee Hyun now had blonde hair and shed his glasses. As Brainstorm he declared research complete. Pointing at the monster he unleashed his thunder will skill, incinerating the dire wolves and blasting them apart. Witnessing the blast the boy had dialed the power down to 5%. Lightning split the ground, shattering it. Sung Ju and Mansi Song were stunned, exclaiming in disbelief. Ahim and Turn noticed them and gave a thumbs up, praising their incredible effort. He said he now understood why hunter stories captivate. Mansi Song shouted about a monster behind him. Ahyun casually zapped the creature without looking. He shared that he learned much. Mansa Song realized Ahyun was the Thunder Emperor. Sun Jo was in disbelief. I haven't mentioned an approaching deadline and said he had to leave, asking them to keep his identity secret. He also urged them to treat their injuries then vanish in a flash. Mansi Song and Seonjo were still processing the events. Suddenly hunters arrived, noting they were inside, reporting in blast and finding 2 conscious people. They focused on rescuing the wounded. That night news broke of a gate change. The hunters at the scene were safely rescued. Late at night Kukyong Mo felt nervous, as only 1 minute remained before Ai Hun's contract would end. Suddenly his phone rang and he quickly checked. It was a message from Ai Hun, apologizing and saying he had just sent the manuscript. Kukyong Mo let out a sigh of relief, noting that it just barely met the deadline. Kukyong Mo opened the file and quickly skimmed through, hoping it was better this time. After reading it again he was surprised and asked what it was, because it was actually impressive. A few days later, a red-haired guy with a backpack stood in the middle of the street, shouting that he was back. A child asked his mother if the red-haired guy was also a hunter. The mother told her child not to stare at him. The red-haired guy expected his friends to be stunned, since he had returned as a C-rank hunter. It had been 6 months since he was sent to a B-rank guild, under his cousin for training. He faced many challenges, but they were all just steps toward his improvement. After tireless training day and night, he finally surpassed the limits of a D-rank hunter. He said goodbye to the old, weaker hunter Choi Young-sik. Now as a C-rank hunter, he matched his seniors in the Galamancy zone. He found it odd that the guild was so quiet when he arrived, especially since they should have known he was coming back that day. He wondered if they had planned a surprise party for him. Deciding to go along with it, he opened the door and announced his return, but it was silent. He noticed a guy at the computer. Ahyun asked who he was and Young-sik asked the same question back. Ahyun introduced himself as a gate helper. Young-sik looked disgusted when he learned Ahyun was an F rank, the lowest rank. Hyun confirmed his rank and Young-sik cut him off. Young-sik said it was perfect timing, since he had just been promoted to C rank. It seemed like Young-sik was about to bully him. He offered to show Ahyun how things worked. On their way back, Mansi Song and Sun Jo discussed the Thunder Emperor. Sun Jo asked Mansi Song if he had assigned cleaning duties to the Thunder Emperor. Mansi Song confirmed he had. Sun Jo realized he was in trouble. from giving Ihan Man so many cleaning tasks, especially since Yang had said goodbye to him. But he shouted that Mansi Siang was just as responsible. Mansi Siang wondered why the Thunder Emperor had even joined their guild. Sun Zhou said that if he had known, he wouldn't have made him clean. Mansi Siang mentioned that the Thunder Emperor revealed his true identity before leaving, so they likely wouldn't see him again. Sun Zhou said it was a pity. Mansi Siang asked why he felt that way, and jokingly asked if Sung Ju thought they should have gotten an autograph. Sung Ju said that having one of the 12 apostles in their guild would bring huge benefits. They could clear high-level dungeons quickly and rank up. Mansi Siang scolded him, saying that wasn't the point. Sun Zhou told him to relax. Mansi Siang asked if he even understood how risky their last mission was. Sung Zhou admitted he knew, but Mansi Song questioned why he was talking nonsense. He explained that gate changes happen because they react to the mana levels of the hunters involved, and that one was clearly caused by the rookie. Fighting with the Thunder Emperor would put their lives at risk every time they entered a gate. Mantis Yang was upset because he had a family to care for. He shouted that he opposed recruiting him. Sung Ju pushed his face away, saying that if he kept talking, people might actually think the Thunder Emperor was joining their guild. Sung Ju clarified he was only joking. They entered the guild expecting a Hyun man to be gone, but saw Young Sik telling a Hyun to repeat after him, saying that in the harsh hunter world, F ranks aren't real hunters. Hyun repeated it, and Yong Sik told him not to worry because he had Yong Sik's guidance. He promised to make him an A-rank hunter. But first Hyun had to start with the basics. Yong Sik told him to begin cleaning. Then he noticed his seniors and greeted them, but they responded with their fists. Mansi Young and Song Jo confronted Choi Young Sik, who was bewildered about the situation. They questioned if he understood the consequences of his actions. Cho Yong Sik admitted he was clueless, pointed out that he had bullied the strongest hunter, forcing him to demean F-rank hunters as worthless. Meanwhile, the main character Ai Hyun simply grinned, finding the place quite fascinating. Earlier, Kook Yang Mo had told Ai Hyun that his manuscript was outstanding, particularly praising its realistic feel. He described how the hunter's greed turned battles into chaos, and highlighted the protagonist's selfless bravery for his team. Kyu Kyung Mo found the raw despair woven into the story deeply touching. He encouraged Ai Hyun, saying that if he kept improving, debuting as a writer would be within reach. Haven's face lit up as he thought about his debut, feeling energized by the opportunity. He believed joining the guild was the right decision. Determined to make it happen, he planned to dive deeper into research to achieve his goal. Suddenly Mansi Song Jo and Choi Young Sik pause, sensing a dark vibe coming from Haven. Munsa Song asked Hyun what he was working on, suspecting it might be a list of people to punish, as if Hyun was tracking their wrongs to make them pay. They tensed up when Hyun said he had something for them, fearing he might strike them with lightning. Hyun burst out laughing, amused by their reaction, which reminded him of a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure moment. Mansi Siang shooed at himself, shouting that he had a family to support. But AI Human handed them a gate raid permit for a team of 4, allowing the full Gala Mansi Siang team to participate. Choi Yangsik was thrilled about the opportunity. Mansi Siang double-checked if Choi Yangsik was included in the plan, while Choi Yong-sik was still getting roughed up in the background. Hyun confirmed that Choi Yong-sik was part of it, and shared his desire to officially join the Gala. Mansi Siang Guild hearing this, Mansi Siang and Sunjo paled, and Choi Yong-sik was shoved outside, left sitting by the door despite the chaotic welcome. Ayun explained that he wanted to join the guild to further his research as a writer. Mansi Song, a guild member, acknowledged Ai Hun's reasons for wanting to join, but Mansi Song noted that their guild was small, meant for the Thunder Emperor. Sun Jo interrupted, urging them to let Ai Hyun join, but Mansi Siang, annoyed, thought he was joking. Sun Jo, serious, reassured him with a pat on the shoulder. Song Jo then reminisced about the guild's early days, when 5 inexperienced friends founded it. Over time, the guild grew and they enjoyed years of chasing their dreams. But as Richard Bear once said, members gradually left to face reality, settling into ordinary lives, leaving behind their ambitions. Still, Song Jo sensed that Mansi Hyun carried lingering regrets. He offered to help, seeing not the Thunder Emperor, but a young man chasing his dream in Iahan. He told Mansi Siang that he was similar, and that Ayahan's arrival was a chance for the guild to try again, especially for Jiho's sake. Sanjo clarified that Ihyun wasn't joining as the Thunder Emperor, but as a web novel writer and gate helper named Ihyun. Mansi Seong reflected on this, recalling joyful past moments and whispering about dreams. He agreed to let Ihyun join. Ihyun bin with a wide smile, shouting that he give it his all. Meanwhile, a black van drove past the guild's office. A man on the phone reported that they'd found the helper the guild master had mentioned at a cafe. Yumi's writing a line about turning someone into a rank hunter. Finding it compelling, the waiter, curious, asked the bartender what Ihun was up to over there. The old bartender, after hours of muttering to himself, told Ihun to stay because he boosted sales. With a door chime, they welcomed a customer, and the waiter was stunned to see an old, distinguished man he called Du Huang. Du Huang announced he needed to speak with someone specific. He met Ai Hyun and asked for the shop to be cleared, including staff, promising it would take only 30 minutes. He revealed a suitcase stuffed with cash, assuring generous compensation. The bartender, eyes wide with shock, quickly complied. The gentleman's guards ushered everyone out of the cafe. Du Huang remarked that Ai Hyun had evaded him for so long, but now they finally met. His menacing presence made Ai Hyun pause his music. Ihun removed his headphones and glanced back to find De Huang standing close, declaring they had unresolved matters. De Huang called him the Thunder Emperor, embracing him warmly while asking what he'd been up to. He seemed overjoyed like a fond grandparent, saying he missed his little troublemaker so much he feared he'd die. To everyone's surprise, Ai Hyun unleashed lightning. Stepping back, Ai Hyun explained he was busy writing a novel and shouldn't be disturbed. Du Huang noted Ai Hyun's usual fussiness. Pulling up a chair, Du Huang insisted Ai Hyun wouldn't escape easily. Confused, Ai Hyun asked what he meant. Huang, overcome with emotion, shouted that since Ai Hyun retired, he'd ignored all his calls. Ai Hyun tried to clarify that the old man's constant calls, even at odd. Du Huan countered that if Ai Hyun had just met him once, he wouldn't have called so much dramatically. He asked how Ai Hyun could treat his grandfather this way, but Ai Hyun snapped back that he wasn't even his real grandfather. Kevin said that since Du Huang had seen him, that should suffice, urging him to leave so he could write. Du Huang had one question. Why had Kevin abruptly retired as a hunter? Iheman barely listened as Duke Wan grumbled on. He mentioned shoes Iheman had asked about before, designed by a subsidiary of their Su-Human Guild, with only 100 pairs of the black limited edition made globally. Annoyed, Iheman shut his laptop and turned to face him. I explained he needed gate helper status for novel research, so we struck a deal with Mr. Richard Bear to return as a hunter. On that condition, Du Huang asked why he didn't join Suhoon instead, and On Hyun said it was too powerful, lacking the realism he needed. Du Huang pressed for clarification. With a creepy smirk, Ai Hyun exaggerated that strong-born hunters couldn't grasp regular hunters' reality. A funny claim from someone his editor criticized for lacking realism. Du Hyung admitted he didn't fully understand, but concluded Ai Hyun needed more research. Du Guan offered that if Ihwan joined his guild, he'd ensure success for all the research he wanted. Ihwan revealed he'd already joined a guild.
Choqué, Du Huang sucht confirmation.
I haven't reiterated he was part of a guild, and told Du Huang to drop the successor talk. Laughing, the old man said he was impressed any guild could recruit the Thunder Emperor. Assuming it was remarkable, he considered buying them out. But Ai Han warned him against saying such alarming things casually. Ai Han stressed he just joined officially, so Du Huang better not try anything strange. Du Huang nodded in agreement and then grew solemn, speaking directly to Ai Han. Not as the Thunder Emperor. Ai Han was already frustrated, but Du Huang stressed that he needed to listen closely, because the matter was serious. He cautioned Ai Han that now that he was back, someone might identify him, which could put him in harm's way. Du Huang advised Ian to stay alert all times. Ian shot back that he wasn't afraid of danger. Du Huang clarified that he wasn't worried about Ian himself, but about the people close to him who might not be as powerful. He had more to share, remembering Ian inside the gate, perched on a monster's corpse, his eyes appearing empty and lifeless. Ihun pressed Dong to say what else he meant. Dong simply gazed into Ihun's eyes, noticing they were markedly different from before. Then he broke into a smile, his tone turning light again, joking that if things went south, Ihun could always join Suamoon. He playfully tousled Ai Hun's hair and announced he was heading out. In his mind, Du Huang felt pleased with how things went. He was relieved to see Ai Hun finally looking vibrant and alive. As he stepped out of the building, he asked Secretary Kim how much the last cafe purchase had cost. Secretary Kim answered it was roughly $1 billion. Du Huang then casually asked what it would take to buy a publishing company, almost as if he was flaunting his wealth. In reality, Du Huang was prepared to go to great lengths for Ah Hyun. As he climbed into his car, a stranger across the street observed them, and reported via phone that Ah Hyun was indeed with Du Huang on the other end. Jin Nam was puzzled, intrigued that an F-rank hunter like Ai Hyun was linked to influential figures, like the chairman and Du Huang. Jin Nam began to suspect that Du Huang's warm treatment of this F-rank might confirm rumors of him having a treasured grandson. The spy updated Jin Nam that Ai Hyun had just exited the cafe, and he moved forward as planned. But Jin Nam urgently yelled to hold off. Jin Nam shouted to stop everything immediately, and ordered his men to stand down. He was on the verge of revealing Ai Hun's true identity to his subordinate, but it was already too late. A car slammed into Ah Hyun, breaking his eyeglasses into pieces. Jin Nam felt a surge of fear, realizing they had targeted Du Huang's grandson. The spy's face drained of color and dropped his phone, fleeing the scene while insisting he didn't know. Meanwhile, the men in the car, with only minor scrapes, believed they finished the job, but their confidence wavered when they saw Ai Hun standing unharmed in front of them. The men were bewildered, yelling that Ai Hun was some kind of monster. One couldn't wrap his head around how this was possible. Human Ai Hun was listed as an F-rank hunter. He sprang from the car, brandishing a blade, while the driver barked at him to kill Ai Hun. Irritated, muttered about a car hitting him out of nowhere, recalling his mother's warnings about not staring at his phone while walking. When the dust cleared, he spotted 2 men lunging at him. I handily dodged their attack, moving like a scene from the Matrix, then seized their faces and jolted them with electricity, striking them point blank. The 2 attackers crumpled to the ground out cold. A hand, still fuming, snapped back to reality and asked if the men were all right. Realizing he'd acted on instinct, he grew anxious that someone might have witnessed the scene. Then a shot rang out that Du Huang was nearby, and a crowd of fans rushed toward Du Huang's car. Ah Hyun breathed a sigh of relief, grateful that the crowd's attention was no longer on him. He mentioned that Grandpa can be useful at times. Then he realized the 2 attackers seemed like hunters. He was confused about why they would target him. A few minutes later, he decided to talk to Park Dahan. The ambulance took the 2 hunters away. Park Dahan said sorry to Ion, and admitted he knew those guys were reckless, but didn't expect them to go that far. He said those guys went way too far this time. Ion asked if Park Dahan knew them, and Park Dahan confirmed he knew them well, describing them as total scum. Park Dahan reacted with a flinch. A human nearby had a dark vibe and was giving off electric sparks. Park Dahan explained that the attackers were likely part of the Scorpion Guild. He noted that the Scorpion Guild has been seen as dangerous for years. After Ahem retired, the Korean Association faced money problems, and the Scorpion Guild was one of the groups that offered funds. He added that the guild master, Ju Jin Nam, is known for doing anything to get what he wants. Park Dahan recently met with Ju Jin Nam, and it happened to be the day Jin arrived, so Park Dahan sent Jin Nam away. That's likely why Jin Nam wanted revenge. Since Jin Nam couldn't go after the association president, he aimed at Ah Hyun, who is listed as an F-rank.
Han apologized to Ah Hyun,
admitting he shouldn't have taken help from someone like that. I am responded telling them to let it go. He pointed out that their boy was radiating lightning and had an intense aura. Park Dahan's secretary standing nearby felt his heart pound. He couldn't believe this was the same aura monsters felt, facing the world's strongest hunter. This was the true power of the Thunder Emperor. Park Taehan, now alarmed, urged Ian to calm down and promised to protect Ian's current guild. If he was worried, he pleaded with Ian to drop, but to Ian it was thrilling. He got excited realizing hunters don't just compete inside gates, but live in a wild reality. He thought hunters also fight and kill outside gates, imagining the protagonist growing stronger through these challenges. He found it exciting. Adam's eyes sparkled as he told Park the Han he didn't need to act, since everything was already perfect. Park the Han was stunned, and Ai Han declared things were about to get exciting. She didn't. now scolded his men for ignoring his order to cancel the mission. He said if they went ahead, they should have at least killed the target. Instead they got beaten and ended up in an ambulance. He questioned if they deserved to call themselves scorpions. One attacker explained it seemed the target had a bodyguard, who vanished after a flash of lightning. Jin Nam, furious, punched him, dismissing the lightning excuse. He asked if the bodyguard was some kind of storm god. He lectured them for wearing the scorpion badge, but failing to take out one kid. Jid Nam couldn't believe their failure. The guild members apologized together. Settling into his seat, Jid Nam called them useless fools. The real issue wasn't just help. Jid Nam knew if the target was the real grandson Huang, leader of one of the 4 great guilds, would act. Jid Nam accepted. There was no turning back now. Jid Nam then remembered the gatekeeper had a guild. A member said it was a C-rank guild called Gawa Manthasian. Jid Nam ordered his team to buy every gate that guild bids on, and ensure no guild would accept the gatekeeper. He decided since they'd gone this far, it might as well go all in. He instructed his team to find and kidnap a helper or family member. Meanwhile, a CEO left a convenience store. Strolling casually, she remarked how easy it was to grab ice cream late at night, unaware she was being watched by dangerous people. She browsed her phone, pondering which movie to watch at home. A man crept up behind her, covered her head to restrain her. They hustled her into a van. Estelle was shocked, realizing she was actually being kidnapped. It was all she could think about. Taiko chose to go along with it, curious since it was her first time. They reached their destination. Taiko sat with her hands bound in the sack still over her head. Jin Nam was entertained. He said even the mighty Sword Emperor wouldn't have expected this. Ace-class beings have power beyond normal limits. Jin Nam believed that even without defeating the Sword Emperor, a few Guardian Guild captains could destroy their group. He had heard that if Du Huang truly adored his granddaughter, even the Sword Emperor was just human like them. Jin Nan figured that holding the Sword Emperor's kin hostage would stop him from acting rashly. He tightened Scorpion's grip carefully until they achieved their goal. This was their moment, that they could secretly control the Guardian Guild. Scorpion Guild would dominate South Korea. Jin Nam then noted he never heard of Du Huang having a granddaughter. Curious, he lifted the sack. Taiko's glasses dropped after a brief pause. He replaced the sack. Everyone grew tense. Nimjam realized they made a huge mistake. Panicked, he recognized the person before them as Crimson Flame. Taiko incinerated the sack. She burned through the ropes too. She asked what they meant about the Sword Emperor. Jin Nam's legs buckled. Taiko was livid. She guessed they had issues with her guild master, and demanded their next move. She said it was first time being captured, so they better make it exciting. At the same time, Gala Mansion's guild stood before a gate. Choi Yong's sixth sect told the newbie to watch closely, promising to show who the guild's true star was in Ai Han's mind. Cho Yong's 6-6 seemed like a comic book hero from Anseong stories. Cho Yong's 6-6 was acting stranger by the minute. Samjo felt nervous. Ai Han thanked the guild master for welcoming him. He said joining was the right call. Manseong replied that they owed him thanks. Sung Ju slung an arm around Ihan, grinning, saying the raid was only possible because of Ihan's last permit. Sung Ju admitted they wanted to keep their dignity and claim the gate alone, but Scorpion guilds snatch every raid permit they try for. Yang recognized that guild's name. His face grew stern. Sun Jo asked if he knew them. Sun Jo glanced at Mantis Yang as if silently asking if he'd messed up. Hoping for a silent reply, Mansi said he didn't know but felt uneasy.
Choi Yong Sik Sik Galuet
Eagerly urged the veterans to charge in. Choi Yong 6-6 said he was pumped. Mansi Siang told him to hold off.
Ihun sighed, visibly frustrated,
saying Scorpion Guild was playing dirty. Then his phone buzzed. He read the message puzzle. A group chat with 3 members received a message, featuring a photo of VC, with defeated Scorpion Guild members behind her, punished by sitting on their legs with arms raised high. Hizio, nicknamed Gorilla, was part of the chat. Aju, known as Arrogant Bastard, responded, suggesting Taiko was behind the kidnapping. Gorilla swore at Arrogant Bastard, who then asked what happened. Gorilla told him to ask Jin Nam. When Arrogant Bastard asked who Jin Nam was, Gorilla explained he was the kidnapper and Scorpion. Guildmaster Hyung read the exchange and grinned. He nearly called Gorilla by her nickname, but opted for older sister instead, leaving the message unedited. Hyung then offered Gorilla a wish ticket in return for a favor. Gorilla, shocked her loser brother, replied. Asked what he wanted. Suddenly someone was heard panting. Sprinting toward a door, it was Jin Nam, who exclaimed he almost died. A guild member asked him what the chaos was about. A guild member was confused about why Jin Nam. The guild master seemed so tame. When asked if they could leave, the member told Jin Nam it was humiliating to be so shaken over one girl. Another voice remarked that the girl, Crimson Flame, was only S-class in name, and seemed like just a pretty face they could overpower together. JID now warned them not to be foolish, asking if they knew who Crimson Flame was. He explained that her presence left only ashes. With every gate she entered, radiating intense heat even outside. She was a rare fire tech mage, specifically an AO1. He called them idiots for thinking they could defeat an S-rank mage, just because she was attractive. Jin Naun told them to be thankful things hadn't gone worse. He was furious because his plans had collapsed. He hadn't realized Crimson Flame was the Sword's Emperor's granddaughter. His goal was only to deal with an arrogant gate helper. Though stepping back now, he swore to settle things later. His thoughts were interrupted when Crimson Flame called out to them. Jin Nam, startled, asked what was wrong since she'd already released them. Crimson Flame said she changed her mind with a snap. Flames engulfed the men. They demanded why, and she explained that Ihun had rarely asked her for a favor, sharing how they targeted her little brother. Jin Nam realized he was in deep trouble. Crimson Flame declared they'd ruined their own lives. She said annoying Iron was her role, unleashing a massive dragon flame. She stunned everyone. The men faced a fiery fate, which seemed preferable to Ihun's lightning flame sword, and the warehouse exploded. He was amazed. The Scorpion Guild members were launched backward from the impact. Behind her she felt like a comic hero. After the guild's kidnapping of Hong Ing LED to their destruction, South Korea was abuzz over the shocking S-rank kidnapping case, with publishing company staff discussing. A man wondered if kidnapping an S-rank was a new way to self-destruct. Another said the Scorpion Guild top among a rank. Guilds let pride cloud their judgment. Meanwhile, Cookiang Mo, absorbed in his phone, got a message from IU about submitting a manuscript tomorrow. Cookiang Mo wondered if something was off. At the heart of the chaos, Ai Hyun was irritated, yelling at others to leave so he could write. Inside his room someone threw a fit, demanding to know why. Ai Hyun had personally asked Crimson Flame for a favor. About them, Ai Hyun asked if she truly wanted the answer. Her eyes sparkled with excitement, but when Iahan suggested she used her token, her face turned icy and she snapped at him to get lost. As Iko started to leave the room, Iahan grumbled about the Scorch and Guild delaying his manga script, and now a gorilla incident had stopped Tai Iko in her tracks, prompting her to choke him in frustration. She guessed that he should perish at the gorilla's hands. While Ahan's face turned blue from lack of air gasping, he offered to explain, but she no longer cared to hear. When he mentioned his guild, she released her grip. He revealed that the Scorpion Guild was harassing their group, coughing heavily, which startled Tai Iko. Ahian remarked that he nearly died before finishing his serialization. When asked if he was followed by a guild, he confirmed he joined one, urging her to keep it quiet since he preferred to avoid attention. But it was too late. Seo ran off yelling for their parents, and soon the whole family buzzed with the lively news. The next day, Ahian arrived at work and Songjo noticed the lunchboxes he carried. Ahian explained that his parents sent them as thanks for welcoming him into the guild. Songjo, touched but flustered, said it wasn't necessary, but appreciated the gesture, noting that Man Se Seong was asleep. So they talked later. Choi Young's sick was late due to errands, and Songjo asked if Hyun heard about the Scorpion Guild's kidnapping. Ayun nodded and Sunjo grinned, saying it felt justified since they kept stealing raid rights. Privately, Ayun felt guilty knowing he was the cause. Sunjo mused that despite their differing ranks, their paths kept crossing, questioning if it was mere chance. If I'm an odd that Scorpion, a top guild, suddenly targeted their bids, sensing a deeper reason behind it. The kidnapping of an S-rank hunter was unprecedented, making Ah Hyun nervous, wondering if Sunjo suspected his role. His hand shook, fearing expulsion for being a burden. Then Sang-ho concluded there was only one explanation. Lee Hyun panicked, apologized, and begged not to be ousted. Just as Songjo explained, they were about to strike it rich, explaining that high-rank hunters covered their gates for a reason. Songju believed a massive treasure awaited in the gate. They bid on calling it luck. With Scorpion out of the way, the stolen raid rights were freed, promising wealth. He laughed wildly until Mansi Song's foot met his back, yelling for quiet to sleep. Mansi Song teased that Song Ju, usually serious, was acting like Choi Yong-sik. Sik Sung Jo insisted the treasure was real, earned through their hard-fought bid. But Mansi Seon brushed it off, saying they should move if the rookie was there, as he had mercenary work next. Sung Jo dreamed that finding the treasure would end their grueling mercenary days. Mansi Song told him to make it happen. First him inside in relief, his earlier panic subsiding. Then a message from his editor popped up, requesting a quick meeting about the manuscript he just sent. Hyun felt uneasy knowing feedback was coming. As he met Kukyong Mo in a cafe, Kukyong Mo shared that he'd read the manuscript and found it much improved since their talk about ending the contract, which thrilled Hyun. However, Kukyong Mo pointed out some lingering problems, like the question of when the protagonist would finally rise to a B-rank hunter. Hyun was puzzled by this critique. Kau Kyung Montak elaborated that Hyun's recent writing had gained realism and intrigue, but it leaned too heavily on daily life details. He noted the absence of a significant event to spur the protagonist's growth, leaving the story stagnant. Typically, a protagonist begins as an ordinary figure facing challenges, training and growing stronger, which lets readers feel satisfaction and release through their journey. Hyman asked about this growth arc, and Kukyangmo explained that even the 12 apostles weren't born powerful. They became heroes by overcoming trials and battles. This grueling path fueled people's passion for them. Yet Kukyangmo heard that Hyman's Thunder Emperor started with immense power, which matched Hyman's vision, but confused him. Kukyangmo stressed that it was time for Iwan's protagonist to evolve into a higher form. Iwan suggested adding a scene in the next episode where the protagonist triumphs over a challenge to grow stronger. Kukyangmo agreed but soon had to leave for another meeting, and Hyun thanked him for the insights. Before going, Kukyangmo urged Hyun to reflect on what growth meant for him. As a writer, that advice lingered in Hyun's mind. After Kukyangmo left alone, Hyun pondered a growing protagonist and questioned what growth truly meant. By night, he was still at his computer wrestling with a concept deep in thought. AI Human posted on a forum asking how to show growth. One user replied that it's straightforward. Show the protagonist gaining stronger skills or new gear to boost their power. I haven't saw this as training to get tougher. But another user, Hungry, disagreed. Hungry argue that if a protagonist only grows externally, the story lacks depth. Internal growth is essential too. They said though it's hard to define, could mean overcoming trauma or resolving inner struggles, like a socially awkward protagonist, growing by making friends or helping one face a big hurdle. His idea of internal growth confused Hyun. He couldn't grasp it fully, but he figured he could at least observe companion growth. The next day, Mansi Song faced a huge bear and told his team to hold their formation. The bear roared, slamming his paw down, cracking the ground, but Mansi Song's sword blew the blow and he looked unfazed, warning the bear he'd now use real force. He called some Jo and Choi Yong-sik to strike, and they slashed the bear. I couldn't watch but couldn't write, finding no inspiration. Reflecting, he realized their combat style hadn't changed in weeks. There was no breath to draw from, and he feared his contract's end. For weeks the team's fighting stayed the same, offering Hyun nothing new to reference. Without progress, Inu's contract was at risk. They defeated the bear and Mansi Seong praised their efforts, then noticed Hyun wondering what the rookie was up to. He saw Hyun on the ground, pleading desperately to keep his contract alive. Mansi Song was about to suggest they end the meeting to go home, when Choi Young's sixth stick cut in, saying they overlooked something. Mansi Young thought he meant profit shares, and said it would be sorted soon. Choi Young's sixth stick clarified that wasn't. He meant celebrating his return and the newest team member's arrival. 2 years had passed since that moment. Munsa Sion seemed uninterested in the idea, saying he was busy that day. As he walked off, proposing they party later, Young Sik, surprised, asked Sun Jo if Munsa Sion was okay. Sun Jo explained it was because Munsa was dealing with his responsibilities. At the bus stop, Mansi Yun took a bus looking happy. Before reaching the stop, he visited a bookstore and a flower shop carrying a book and flowers. Smiling broadly, he entered Shield Hospital, where a woman and a young patient were cheerfully talking. They noticed Mansi Song's arrival. The young patient beamed and called out to his dad. Mansi Song walked in, hiding his gifts behind him, and asked his son if he was feeling okay. His son proudly said he ate all his food today. Mansi Song praised him, saying good kids earn rewards, and revealed the book. The book was a modern fantasy novel by Nami Gang about hunters, not romance, which Mansi Yang knew his son wanted. The boy loved it, thanking his dad and calling him the greatest. Mansi Yang called his wife over, handing her the flowers surprised. She learned it was their anniversary. They had both forgotten the date. His wife was delighted and Mansa Song blushed. As they shared a warm moment, their son interrupted, embarrassing them. Mansa Song asked what was wrong. They saw their son's nose bleeding. His face uneasy, he said something felt off and fainted. Mansa Song shouted for Jiho. Jiho needed an oxygen tank to breathe and looked very pale. Mansa Xian's wife wept beside their son. While Mansa spoke with the doctor said the medicine was helping, so Jiho should be stable for now. But his rare condition worsened with man exposure. The doctor said it was tough, but surgery was needed soon. Mansi Xiang recalled the doctor's promise to prepare for surgery. Whenever he was ready, Mansi Xiang said he understood. Mansi Xiang considered another loan. If that failed, he'd take more mercenary work to raise the funds. Returning, he saw his wife crying. He wiped her tears, promising to find the money and put on a brave face, saying surgery costs were no big deal. Jiho woke up calling out weakly. Mansi Xiang asked if he felt better, assuring him he'd be okay. The doctor ensured Jiho's comfort before leaving. Jiho cried, apologizing, wishing he wasn't sick so his parents wouldn't suffer. His parents were stunned and said no. Jiho shouldn't apologize, they should. Mansa Song teared up, promising their son they'd make him well. They vowed to heal him later. Mansa Song stood in a long line looking sorrowful. He was told he couldn't get new loans, because he already had unpaid ones, and his application was denied. His only choice was mercenary work, and he looked worn out. A man approached praising his hard work, and asked why he wasn't staying with his own guild, wondering if he needed fast money or something else. Mansi Jiun admitted it was something like that, surprising the man who didn't expect it to be true. Then Mansi Jiun asked him a question, and the man was stunned to learn he was borrowing 200 million. He kindly explained that as C-rank hunters, they faced similar struggles. Mansi Jiun noticed the man's silence, and then the man asked him to wait while he considered something. The man made a phone call asking if a crank could handle it, and hung up. Mansi Hyung asked if there was a good job available. The man hesitated, unsure if it was the right choice. Mansi Hyung asked what the job was, though he didn't care much. He was willing to take on anything. The man explained to Mansa Song that a B-rank guild of only mages needed a tank to hold the line while they cast spells. The gate they aimed to clear was a high-tier B rank, making it risky for a C-rank hunter like him. If the raid succeeded, the profit could top 500 million, and as the only tank, he'd earn 100 million. Hearing about the 100 million, Mansa Song was shocked. The man urged him to think carefully. Despite his need for money, since he faced monsters alone, a high-tier B rank gate could be deadly. Mansi Xiang said it was okay and told the man to arrange. He had no choice. Next, Mansi Xiang stood before a massive ogre. Mansi Xiang confronted the huge ogre, and the mages ordered him to hold the line at all costs, or everyone would die. Determined, Mansa Xiang felt the monster was already taunting him. He saw the ogre prepare to swing, so he braced himself. He blocked the blow with his sword. As the monster kept attacking, Mansa Shan fought hard to block the attacks. He thought about their rent going up. The landlady had said both monthly and long-term leases were increasing, and she couldn't make exceptions. If they couldn't pay next month, they had to leave. Mansa Shan struggled to keep his footing steady. He remembered another issue. Starting next month, the guild office rent would rise by 200,001. He fell to his knees. Then he recalled the doctor saying Jiho needed surgery soon. Grinding his teeth, he refused to break. He swore that no matter what challenges came, he wouldn't give up easily. He stood up again. The monster kept attacking. Mansa Song stayed determined for one reason. He was the family's leader. The monster stepped back, preparing a massive swing that broke Mansa Song's sword, and struck his side with force. The mages rushed to attack. Ignoring him completely, they moved past him to continue the raid. Mansa Song began to lose consciousness. He thought of his son Jehovah. apologizing for being a worthless father. At home, Ahan struggled to understand growth, unable to sleep, feeling close to a growth burnout. Then he got a call from Sango. He answered saying he was about to go to work, but stopped when he heard news about Mansi Song. At the hospital, Mansi Song lay unconscious. His wife held his hand crying. Sam Jun and Ae Hyun entered the room. In the ICU, they learned Man Song had overworked himself as a mercenary to pay for his sick son's surgery. Song Jo felt a pang of guilt, wishing Man Song had shared his struggles with them. He questioned if he was just an outsider to Man.
Seong a yin spoke cautiously.
Then offered his help if it was welcome. He asked how much support would be sufficient. Samjo's mood lifted, but then he recalled that Ahyun was the Thunder Emperor, which sparked a new realization. After some thought, Samjo respectfully turned down the offer. When Ahyun asked why, Samjo explained that if he truly needed funds, he would have already sought Ahyun's aid. But he believed bringing someone like Ahyun, the Thunder Emperor, into their guild could improve his brother's circumstances. Ultimately, though, Mansi Shan viewed Ahyun not as the Thunder Emperor, but as their guild's youngest member. Choi Young-sik shared that he just contacted the B-rank guild, where Mantis Young serve as a mercenary. Sun Jo said he head over immediately. He remarked that he wasn't sure if Mantis Young was genuine or just obstinate. He noted that Mansi Hyang often overthought things unnecessarily. Sun Jo told Ahyun that accepting his help might let Mansi Hyang down. Sun Jo resolved to find a solution independently. As he walked off, Ahyun's words made him pause and glance back. Ahyun promised that rather than acting as the Thunder Emperor, he'd assist as the guild's youngest member. Inside, the gate hunters geared up for combat. They urged the C-rank hunters to quickly take the front lines. The hunters charge ahead, including Sun Jo and Choi Young-sik. They faced skeletons wielding swords. The mages in the rear grumbled as they were pushed back. They instructed the front lines to prevent any monster breakthroughs. Some Drew struggled but affirmed he'd hold the line. Another mage complained when a skeleton slipped through to the back. They finally reached the boss room's entrance and took a brief rest. Choi Young-sik and Sun Jo looked drained. Sun Jo grasped the intensity of a B-rank gate, exhausted from fighting just minor enemies. He was amazed that Mansa Song could handle it alone. Someone nearby argued they should have hired a proper B-rank tank. A female mage pointed out that the C ranks couldn't even stand firm against regular monsters. Defeating a boss was impossible. Another hunter worried they'd be annihilated. The guildmaster responded that they had no options, as hiring a B-rank mercenary cost 300 million, one which they couldn't afford. A mage noted that last time a single C-rank mercenary managed fine, and now with two they held some hope of surviving. Still, he admitted feeling uneasy. Song Jo knew they were right. He questioned whether he could truly risk pushing forward. Song Jo imagined himself and Choi Young-sik getting hurt. I can approach looking utterly exhausted like a zombie. Choi Young-sik and Sun Jo were stunned by his state and asked what he'd been doing. Ihan asked if for that day's boss raid. They trust him to lead the way. It seemed the main character had a plan. The battle resumed with mages fighting skeletons, while Choi Young-sik and Sun Jo protected them. They wondered where the boss was, as only minions appeared. They speculated another hunter might have killed, but that seemed unlikely, as the association would revoke the license of anyone caught doing so. No one would be foolish enough to take that chance. A mage suggested stopping for the day. When the guild master asked why, he explained that too many monsters had depleted his mana, and they already cleared most of the mobs. He proposed searching for the boss later after recovering mana, arguing it was pointless to fight when they weren't fit to win. The guildmaster understood. He had mana and to truly damage the boss, it needed to be in a groggy state first, a task those C-rank adventurers couldn't handle. He sighed deeply and declared the raid would stop there for now. He informed the group they would return to face the boss on another day. Unbeknownst to them all, the gem embedded in the skull began to radiate a brilliant light. As they walked toward the exit, a voice called out asking if they were leaving so soon already. They turned around swiftly. Ahan remarked that this was merely the beginning of the fight. The guild master questioned what he was talking about. Confused, Ahan casually gestured towards something odd. They noticed one skeleton pulling all the others toward itself. They stood in shock as the skeletons merged together, forming one colossal figure. Became a gigantic skeleton. A B+ ranked boss monster unveiled. At last the true boss have finally revealed itself to them. The guild master, swiftly ordered everyone to prepare their spells for a unified strike. To end it quickly, they launched fire arrows, electric shocks, and an ice spear all at once in a coordinated assault. Every attack struck the boss perfectly, yet the monster remained completely unscathed. It lifted its massive weapon ready to strike back at them. The mages panicked, their mana reserves already drained from earlier efforts. They believed this was surely their end. Yahello shouted loudly that now was the critical moment to act. Choi Young-sik and Sun Jo readied themselves. Instantly they struck simultaneously. Aiming with precision, the mage's jaws dropped in disbelief.
Choi Young-sik
and Sun Jo focused their attacks on the skeleton's joints. Each strike landed with incredible accuracy, astounding the onlookers. The mages couldn't fathom what they were witnessing unfold. Those C-rank fighters had somehow overpowered the mighty boss. They demanded to know what in the world had just occurred. Sun Jo pressed his assault relentlessly forward. He recalled what the rookie had mentioned earlier that day. Previously, Ai Hyun had shared his detailed notes with them. Those notes contained sketches and diagrams. He endeavored a strategy using data provided by the association. He explained that since it was his first attempt at planning for a rank fight, he conducted thorough research. He recognized the boss was a giant skeleton. Due to its enormous stature, each of its attacks carried tremendous force, but it moves slothfully and slowly. His vulnerabilities lay in the joints connecting its bones, which they planned to target precisely. He noted that since Seong-ho and Choi Young-sik excelled in speed, they could strike before the boss could launch its own attack effectively. Sangja was astonished that the rookie compiled such research. In just one night's time, Hyun ascended to heaven blushing and said he's a writer at heart. He clarified he's only an aspiring one, but research is essential for any writer. Back in the present, Song-ho expressed gratitude for the plan. Based on the notes reviewed before the attack, the boss always emitted a loud roar prior to striking. It was noted in Han's records that when evading, they should dodge sideways to attract his aggression. Song-ho followed the instructions precisely as written in the notes. It was also recorded that they must avoid moves that split its focus, and when striking they should concentrate entirely on the joints.
Choi Young-sik attack,
naming his move Super Ultra Thunder Lightning Slash, bewildering the boss as the attack seemed ineffective initially. Moments later the boss collapsed onto its knees. I haven't signaled to some job, shouting was time to act. They needed to finish the monster by hitting its core with maximum force to end the battle. Some job aimed for the heart within the rib cage of the skeleton. He unleashed an X-slash attack with tremendous power. He poured all of his strength into it, but was pushed back forcefully. Both he and Choi Young-sik were stunned by the failure. Even Ah-hyun hadn't anticipated the attack being deflected so easily. Then Ah-hyun realized something critical. While watching the battle unfold, the giant skeleton launched an attack against them. Suddenly I even understood that strategy alone was merely a tool, and without sufficient raw power, they couldn't defeat the boss. The mages, gripped by fear, claimed their doom was certain. They knew this boss was never meant for C-rank fighters to handle. Yahello saw he had no option but to intervene himself. But then he noticed Song-ho standing tall, rallying Choi Young-sik to keep fighting. The Yahello was unable to assist them further. As the Thunder Emperor swung his weapon, he reminded Yang-sik of their usual strategy. He suggested Yang-sik try something different this time. Yahello knew it was the move they had been practicing daily. Sanjo explained that even though others claim Yang-sik wasn't ready, they would unite their efforts to compensate for him. Young-sik nodded in agreement and offered to draw the enemy's attention. He insulted the giant skeleton, calling in a bonehead, and made a bold gesture with his middle finger that was Young-sik's signature provocative move. Then Young-sik continued shouting, throwing insults, like demanding it come closer so he could smash its skull, mocking its eyeless stumble. As expected, taunting the creature in such a brash way worked perfectly. The giant skeleton chased Young-sik. Young-sik shouted to Sun Jo, signaling it was his moment. Sun Jo wrapped chains around the skeleton's ankle and yanked hard. The skeleton stumbled and fell. Now it was time for the final strike. Young-sik spun around to confront the boss monster. It was time for Mansi Song's decisive blow. Sun Jo leaped into the air. He remarked that if it were Mansi Song, he'd have shattered the core in one hit. But Song Ju and Young-sik had to combine their efforts. Young-sik got ready, they launched their attacks in sync, and the core finally split. causing the skeleton giant to unleash its last wail. A brilliant light flooded the battlefield. The giant skeleton was vanquished, slowly fading into nothing. The mages watched the boss disappear and cheered for their survival. Ajin was amazed that some joined Young Sik and surpassed his plan, refusing to surrender even in dire straits. With their unique approach, they forged a new path to victory. I even realized this was the essence of progress. At the Shield Hospital meanwhile, Mansi Song was dreaming of Ji-ho, who called him a worthless father. He gradually woke up confused about his surroundings. He remembered he'd been trying to raise funds for Ji-ho's surgery. He felt he failed and labeled himself a pitiful idiot. Mansa Song was at a loss for what to do next. Then the curtains parted, revealing some Jo Ah-hyun and Young Sik, who saw he was awake. Mansa Song looked dejected. Some Jo questioned if that was how a guild master should act. Noting their concern for him, Mansa Song apologized, but Sung Jo quickly shifted the conversation. Young Sik declared that Mansi Song could now relax. Sung Jo shared that while Mansi Song was unconscious, they'd made arrangements, ensuring he no longer needed to stress about Ji-ho's surgery funds. Mansi Hyang, confused, asked what they meant. His jaw dropped when he saw the account book, filled with earnings from Sunjo, Ahyan and Yong's 6 mercenary jobs. The trio beamed with pride. Sunjo explained that their mercenary wages, plus extra earnings, covered Ji-ho's surgery costs. Mansi Hyang hesitated, saying he couldn't just accept. Surprising them, Sundar chided him for his reluctance. Mansi Sagal clarified he wasn't refusing outright, but felt uneasy taking money they'd risk their lives for. Mansi Song vowed to repay them. Yang Sik brushed it off, saying they understood his circumstances and that was that. Mansi Song insisted it was his burden to bear. A memory surfaced of a past moment, when he and 3 others were drained from rushing through multiple gates daily. One of them explained they had no choice because Gino was ill. Another warned that at this pace, they, not Gino, would break down. A third agreed, sharing the same concern. Then their vice guild master Bulgog, also known as Richard Bear, stepped in and urged them to reconsider their approach. The team wondered how long they keep covering for the guild master's mistakes, noting that the guild's B rank goals seemed out of reach. Everyone was struggling to keep up with the guild master's pace, exhausting themselves, getting hurt and ending up in the hospital one after another. Richard Bear shared his plan to start a new guild because of this. Meanwhile, Munsa overheard and felt guilty, blaming himself for the guild members leaving due to his selfish choices, which knocked back their dreams and left him unable to protect his family. He believed he'd unfairly burdened 3 others and needed to handle his issues alone. Song Jo reassured Mansi it wasn't his fault, pointing the blame at Richard Bear instead. Choi Young Sik agreed and Ai Hyun vowed to keep supporting Mansi. Mansi was puzzled too. Ayun explained he'd gotten feedback that his story's protagonist wasn't growing. Initially he thought the protagonist Honest was progressing fine, gaining skills and strength. However, Ah-young realized true growth wasn't just about ranking up, a lesson he learned from his guild members. Mansi Si-young wasn't fighting in gates for ranks, but to protect something dear and support the guild master, showing bravery beyond his level. Ah-young reflected that when he joined the guild, he'd already seen Mansi Song as his story's protagonist. Without this guild, he wouldn't have witnessed such growth. This convinced him to keep helping for Munsa's development and the guild's future, leaving the old man speechless. Munsa Song realized it wasn't all about him. Everyone supported each other. He'd been so scared of pain that he only focused on himself. Smiling, he asked the group if it was okay to cause trouble sometimes. Moving forward, Sung Ju said Mansi could make trouble as much as he wanted, and Ai Hun added he could help as much as he liked, though his sly smile made Mansi nervous, as if he was plotting something. Elsewhere, a group of men battled a tough monster in a difficult raid. Doyen commanded them to hold formation and push forward. These hunters, unlike most
Wartoptière Combagir.
But the purple-winged bipedal monster easily struck them. As it prepared a fireball, Du Huang predicted the attack, and a man with a sturdy shield stepped up. The shield-bearer blocked the monster's flames, and checked if Du Huang was okay. This was Tyson Zhang Hongqi, an S-rank hunter and their top tank. Du Huang confirmed he was fine, but despite using elite units, they were losing ground to the S-rank boss monster Diablo. Du Huang urged Kyo Soon to protect the guild members, including Becky and Hyo-jan, An S-rank healer told Daong not to worry and to focus. Daong said he might have to risk his life, this time drawing his weapon and unleashing an S-rank aura. As Diablo readied another fireball, Du Huang and Diablo paused, noticing something in the sky. Like a god descending, someone shouted, "Raikuza, is that you?" A thunder wheel attack electrocuted the monster, sending debris flying. Du Huang steadied himself, amazed, saying he never thought he lived to see such a moment. He hadn't anticipated such a significant moment would arrive. He mentioned that his grandson might appear rough on the surface, but he always knew the truth. He was glad the Thunder Emperor stepped in to help. However, the Thunder Emperor clarified it wasn't like that. He was there to request a favor from Du Guang. Du Guang playfully told him to just admit he helped. In Korea, an airplane was preparing to touch down at the airport, with fans buzzing with excitement. A blond man stepped off and greeted them with a wave. He remarked it had been some time since his last visit to Korea, yet someone on his mind. He'd been thinking about a person named Sato Katsuya, one of the 12 legendary apostles. Shortly after, Dahuan shared how shocked he was by Katsuya's sudden arrival. Katsuya chuckled and said sorry. He placed the tea down. He explained that their association president had an urgent message to deliver. This LED Park Dahan to question how grave the situation must be for the Japanese Association president to send an apostle. Park Dahan was stunned to learn that Destroyer and Janna had died. Katsuya confirmed that 2 of the 13 stars of the Azure Sky had been killed. Park Dahan insisted it couldn't be true. The 13 stars of the Azure Sky were the 13th highest-ranked hunters, globally just below the 12 apostles and nearly at legendary status. They were unquestionably among the most powerful. Included in those 13 stars was Huang. Park Dahan then asked who could have possibly taken down those 2. Katsuya answered it was Black Spear. Katsuya figured Park Dahan knew that Black Spear wasn't just involved in social and economic issues, but also in stirring international conflicts and recent global events. They all agree Black Spear was behind it all. They declared that only the awakened were the true new humanity, and non-awakened people were meant to be dominated. These extremists were responsible for massacres. Black Spear had been labeled a terrorist group by governments worldwide, with their dangerous beliefs under close watch. Katsuya noted they've been monitoring them, but this event showed Black Spear was far more than just a terrorist organization. The Japanese Association president sent a message through Katsuya, urging that given these events, there should be no delay in combining your nation's forces. Park Dahan casually shook his hands, saying they happily joined forces. Katsuya mentioned that Park Dahan could review the documents for details about the incident and the alliance. Then, Katsuya shared that their association president was overly careful. Park Dahan was puzzled. Katsuya said he could easily step in and take them all out himself, but for some reason the president was so concerned. He asked if Park Dahan agreed. In Park Dahan's mind, only 12 people in the world could say something like that so confidently. Katsuya considered going to meet the person he'd been thinking about. Meanwhile, Mansi Ong's family and guild members were sharing a meal at the hospital. Sundro decided to accompany him, and Mantis Yong's wife announced she'd go deliver medicine to Jiho. Mantis Yong and Ai Hyun stayed behind, assisting each other with cleaning the table. Munsa Song remarked that the day was full of unexpected events. When Ah Hyun asked why, Munsa explained that Du Huang had shown up at the hospital earlier, having heard about the situation from his grandson. Munsa Song shared that he never would have thought Du Huang was his grandfather. Ahayan corrected him, saying they weren't related. Munsa Song, puzzled because of Du Huang's claim, learned from Ahayan that it was just a figure of speech, not an injured relation. Mansi Siong added that Du Huang's sudden appearance led to him and Gio being moved to the VIP ward, with all remaining medical bills covered, prior payments refunded, and even an offer for a house. Ahun got a call, and he remembered that the best way to show gratitude was to help Gawa Mansi Siong thrive. Mansi Song planned to begin proper guild recruitment. After Jiho's surgery, Aihian, excited, promised to give his all while cleaning the table. He pondered what kind of adventure awaited this time. Suddenly, Ai Hyun sensed something unsettling. He glanced behind him. Mansi Siong noticed and asked what was wrong. Ahayan said he had to step out briefly and would return soon. Mansi Siong was stunned when Ahayan jumped out the window. From several floors up, Ahayan landed in a forest. He scanned the area, wondering if someone was hiding their presence. Recognizing the energy, he sensed it behind him. He swiftly kicked, sending the figure flying. But they quickly reappeared behind Ai Hyun. Their clash shattered the ground around them. Aihin blocked a punch and demanded to know what the person was up to. The figure remarked that Aihin's skills remained sharp.
Expecting rust.
It was Saito Katsuya who grinned and asked how Aihin was doing. They caught up and Saito Katsuya learned. Aihin had returned to research for a more realistic novel. I haven't confirmed, tired of repeating the explanation. Saito Katsuya noted that a hero of humanity vanishing and returning naturally sparked curiosity. He was surprised by Aihin recalling him as unmotivated, treating everything like a burden. Aihin admitted a lot had changed and said he was enjoying himself. He felt more driven to write even better. Saito Katsuya, observing Aihin's expression, saw a shift in him. He encouraged Aihin to keep writing and not quit. When Saito Katsuya stood to leave, Aihin asked if he was going already. Saito Katsuya said he had other matters to handle, and had only dropped by, adding that as long as Aihin remained the Thunder Emperor, they'd meet again soon. Aihin was confused by Saito Katsuya's words. The next day Daham gazed out his window, thinking about the news that 2 of the 13 stars had died, leaving the 12 apostles as the only ones able to stop Black Spear. But when he discussed it with Ai Hyun seemed uninterested, calling it a hassle and suggesting Saito Katsuya could handle it, since they finished that month's tasks. Ai Hyun proposed dealing with it later. This made Dahan worry whether the Thunder Emperor would step up, especially if Ayun finished his research and retired again. Dahan was certain the madman would go through with it. He yelled no, desperately pleading for anything other than retirement. His wild behavior made him seem unhinged, so much that his secretary hesitated to step into his office. When Dahan finally settled down, his secretary entered and asked if he was calm now. Dahan brushed it off, claiming he was just practicing his voice. He then asked for the day's report. His secretary shared that the hunters had released the ranking of top rookie prospects, with a hunter from their country claiming first place. Dahan guessed it was the demonic sword. His secretary confirmed and asked if he already knew. Dahan replied that, among all the rookies he knew, demonic sword was the finest. Demonic sword. Cha Sang-woo was the most discussed hunter in Korea lately. A prodigy, he achieved S rank faster than anyone, wielding one of the 7 mythic grade weapons, the strongest since the Great Gate era, called Dark Moon. Dahan recalled that only 2 Dark Moon contractors in history had ever reached legendary rank, and if demonic sword hit that level, it would be monumental. Dahan got carried away imagining Korea boasting 2 legendary hunters. He declared it would make Korea the top-ranked nation globally. With him as the leading association chairman, he could already picture the Indian chairman seething in defeat. Plus, they'd no longer depend only on the Thunder Emperor, freeing Dahan from his unpredictable demands. As Dahan laughed wildly, something grabbed his secretary's attention. Dahan went on about the guy who kept threatening to retire, out of nowhere, saying he'd finally be done with him. Unbeknownst to him, Hyun was standing right behind Hyun asked what he planned to do. Dahan's face drained of color. Realizing his mistake, Hyun teased him further, urging him to keep talking since I was curious. Dahan scrambled to cover up his blunder. Meanwhile, outside the association building, someone questioned why another person was there when training time was scarce. The person gazing at the building explained that reaching S rank meant dealing with all kinds of registrations, requiring at least 1 association visit. Another voice noted the young man had grown a lot, but reminded him that to be a true warrior of the sword, he needed to grow even stronger. The speaker was a black sword with a red gem at its core. It declared that when the young man could fully harness its power, he'd be unstoppable, achieving everything he desired, mainly revenge. Then he noticed Dahan chasing Ayan, trying to explain himself as they playfully interacted. While passing by, the sword sensed something odd, spotted Ai Hyun and couldn't believe it. Someone like him, the young man asked the sword what was wrong. The sword explained that the man who just passed by had recognized, and was an absolute monster, someone it should never confront. The young man observed Ai Hyun, knowing he sensed nothing from him, but the Dark Moon had never spoken like that before. If that man is truly a monster. Dark Moon grew anxious as Cha Song-woo approached Ai Hyun. Cha Song-woo viewed Ai Hyun as a valuable asset for his development. He started to unsheath his sword, but Dark Moon urged him to stay calm. Yet he aimed the blade at Ihan's neck and challenged Ihan to a duel. Our boy turned to see who this unknown person was, suddenly threatening him with a sword. Ihan brushed the sword away and declined the offer. Cha Sun-woo was shocked that this guy dismissed Dark Moon so casually. Typically, just touching Dark Moon's mana would render someone unconscious, making Ihan clearly unique. Chae Sang-woo pressed, but Ae Hyun was already irritated. He questioned who this person was, appearing out of nowhere and demanding a fight. Chae Sang-woo took it as Ae Hyun dismissing the weak. He removed his hood and revealed himself as Chae Sang-woo, the demonic sword, assuming Ae Hyun knew of him. Ihan simply said he didn't care if he was the demonic sword or a job of Machioli. Since Ihan was busy, he told him to leave. But Han realized this was indeed the real demonic sword. It puzzled him why a beast like Chae Sang-woo would suddenly challenge the Thunder Emperor. Then it clicked for a hunter to progress. You need a pivotal moment. It varies for everyone, but typically battling a stronger foe sparks. One fight wouldn't suffice, but Dan knew that with the demonic sword, even a brief clash could yield tremendous growth. He stopped Ian from walking away. He reminded him of this month's pending request. Ahian responded and Park Dahan explained. That's why Ahian visited the association today. But Ahian shrugged it off, poking at the chairman's behavior. He admitted he embarrassed himself earlier, so he'd keep his request simple. Ahian sighed and asked what he wanted. Park Dahan's request was for Ahian to spar with Chae Sang-woo. Park Dahan LED them to the association's top sparring arena, designed to contain shock waves. The area was fortified with numerous barriers, unbreakable even by an S rank or stronger, so the two could fight without restraint. They could go all out. Meanwhile, Chae Sang-woo thought the guy seemed familiar. He realized it was the chairman. Yet the chairman was bending over backward for Ahian. Piqued his curiosity about Ahian's deal. They entered the arena and Chae Sang-woo expected answers soon. The chairman told them to prepare. He signaled the start. Cho Sang-woo struck instantly. Ahian sidestepped, dodging the blade. Chae Sang-woo thought someone like Ai Hyun was just a warm-up for him. He slashed again, surprised, thinking he'd hit. But Ai Hyun evaded effortlessly, making him realize he should have unleashed Dark Moon fully. From the beginning, Dark Moon echoed its earlier claim that this guy's a monster. It announced synchronization had begun at 12%, climbing to 34%, then 47%. Ahina noticed Cho Sang-woo's speed increasing. Synchronization hit 54% and the sword emitted a red beam. Park Dahan remarked that the mana exceeded his predictions. He witnessed the demonic sword's true might. Chae Sang-woo kept pouring more aura into the blade. He declared this time would be different. Park Dahan thought the Thunder Emperor couldn't remain unfazed against the demonic sword. Chae Sang-woo's attack closed in and he managed to cut a strand of Ihan's hair. Ihyun dodged Chae Sang-woo's attack by twisting his body. Noticing that Chae Sang-woo's strikes were growing stronger,
Chae Sang-woo paused,
turned to face Ai Hyun again and kept swinging his sword, but Ai Hyun easily avoided every blow. Chae Sang-woo's frustration mounted as he couldn't land a single hit. Feeling like Ai Hyun was completely out of reach, Chae Sang-woo was panting heavily, stunned by the vast gap in their skills. Ahiman calmly asked if he was ready to give up, looking completely unfazed. Chae Sang-woo ordered Dark Moon to boost their synchronization. Dark Moon warned him that he'd already hit his limit, but Chae Sang-woo insisted it was time to push beyond. Dark Moon agreed but cautioned Chae Sang-woo that losing consciousness during synchronization could let its power consume his soul. Their synchronization climbed to 58%, and Chae Sang-woo began transforming. He let out a loud scream, releasing black lightning. Using a skill called Black Moon, he summoned a tornado of black lightning that resembled a dark moon taking shape. Park Dahan watched in awe. Cho Sang-woo declared that Ae Hyun wouldn't escape this time. His power focused in the swirling lightning. He swung his sword with a powerful slash.
Ae Hyun Impel
Decided to reveal a bit of his own strength. Cho Sang-woo was shocked to see lightning spark from Ae Hyun's fingertips, which he used to counter the attack by unleashing his own lightning. Chae Sang-woo's aura was overwhelmed by Ihan's lightning, which broke through the black and red mist tornado. A massive explosion followed, so intense that Han outside the facility felt its force. The defense barrier was shattered, and Chae Sang-woo dropped to his knees, scoffing before bursting into laughter. Chae Sang-woo admitted he never suspected the man before him was the Thunder Emperor. The next day at a cafe, Chi Sang-woo pleaded with Ae-hyun to take him as a disciple. Ae-hyun, busy on his laptop, refused. Chi Sang-woo stood there persisting with his pleas, explaining he had a desperate reason to grow stronger. Chae Sun-woo rambled about his tragic past, which left Ae-hyun unmoved. He shared that his younger brother, a highly talented hunter, was nearly abducted by a sinister group. At that moment, Dark Moon appeared, offering power in a dramatic deal. After many hardships, Cha Sang-woo narrowly saved his brother, but since that day, his brother has remained unresponsive, as if his soul had vanished. Cha Sang-woo vowed to destroy the organization responsible and find a way to save his brother, believing he needed to grow stronger.
Ayen, surprised,
remarked that hearing the same story for a week would make anyone memorize it. Pointed out that Chai Sang-woo had been repeating himself for days. He assured Chai Sang-woo he was already strong and would grow even more with a few years' experience. Chai Sang-woo slammed his hands on the table, shouting that waiting years was too long, drawing the cafe crowd's attention.
Cho Sang-woo at Lai That.
Despite reaching S rank just 2 years after awakening, he knew climbing higher required learning from someone far stronger. Through their spar, he felt Ae-hyun's unmatched power. He insisted the Thunder Emperor was his only hope, as his brother still lay in a hospital bed. Had reached my limit and told him to stop. Ae-hyun felt sorry for him, but explained that his main job kept him too busy to take him in. Shazamwu asked what he meant by his main job. I haven't shared that. Being a hunter is just something he does on the side. I haven't written widely, as he revealed he's a web novel writer. Cha Sang-woo was stunned. At dusk, he watched I haven't walk away confused. He didn't understand why Ae-hyun would set aside all that power and fame just to write. Meanwhile,
Cho Sang-woo fell dead per star.
Dark Moon said he gets it, describing it as a lonely race, where Ae-hyun is far ahead with no one to catch up or chase him. If Ae-hyun kept running alone on that path and saw no one beside him, it would feel hollow and lonely. Chae Sang-woo called it the solitude of the strongest. Dark Moon said it's just a guess. But there were others like that in the past, people so exceptional. They lost their purpose in life. Meanwhile, Ae-hyun got irritated and asked Chae Sang-woo if he was following him to his house. They stood in front of a convenience store, and Ae-hyun pointed out it was his home. Cho Sang-woo said he wouldn't be that bold, but then his stomach growled loudly. Embarrassed, he asked if Cho Sang-woo was hungry. I invited him to stay for dinner. Cho Sang-woo eagerly agreed. When asked about his gorilla sister, Yoon said she's working late. Ae-hyun was relieved, as he nearly showed her something she shouldn't see. Their mother scolded Ae-hyun for calling his sister a gorilla. Ae-hyun shrugged, saying he's just calling in as he sees
Ihan got small kid.
Their father chuckled but noticed Chesun-woo was frozen in place. He realized he'd shamelessly tagged along. Ae-hyun's father told him not to feel uneasy and to eat comfortably. Cho Sang-woo thanked them for their kindness. Ae-hyun's father asked if Cho Sang-woo is close to Ae-hyun, since it's the first time Ae-hyun run a friend home. Ae-hyun said they're not really friends, and Chae Sang-woo is just someone he met by chance. Lee-jun sighed, saying it's a strange way to introduce the demonic sword. Ae-hyun was shocked that he knew him. Lee-jun said the demonic sword is a big topic lately. Their mother placed a sunny-side-up egg on Chae Sang-woo's rice. Chae Sang-woo thanked her, but she said there's no need. She told him if he's Ae-han's friend, he's practically family and can stop by whenever he's hungry. Chae Sang-woo looked sad but thanked her for the meal. Han asked for an egg, but his mother said he has to be cute to get one. Their father just laughed.
Sang-woo
remembered how his own family used to have fun meals together. He realized it had been a while since he had a homemade meal. He smiled, saying it was delicious, but stopped when he saw their surprised faces. Lee-jun didn't realize he was already crying, and then he cried more. He tried to apologize, but Ae-hyun cut him off, saying the kimchi stew was too spicy. Jun added that was spicy enough to make him tear up. Their father agreed, and their mother apologized to Cha Sang-woo for messing up the spice level. She went to get water. Cha Sang-woo had a warm smile afterward. Ae-hyun walked him out. Cha Sang-woo thanked him for the meal. Ae-hyun said there's no need to thank him. Cha Sang-woo's expression softened as he shared. It had been a long time since he felt a family's warmth. He had one more thing to say, but paused. Ae-hyun was puzzled why he stopped. But Choi Sang-woo was thinking about those few who lost their purpose because they were too exceptional. He didn't finish his thought, and just said he was caught up in his head. Then he left. Ae-hyun wondered if he was too cold, but decided to let it go since he had his own issues to handle. He answered a call from Sung-jo. Dark Moon asked Choi Sang-woo if he's giving up on being his disciple. Jason Woo said he could no longer be a burden. He overheard Ai Han mention guild recruitment and glanced at him, sparking an idea that it was too early to quit. On the guild interview day, they summoned the first applicant. Sam Drew asked him to introduce himself. The man wore a yellow suit with a blue coat over. He sported yellow sunglasses and called himself Choi Hoon. A man faster than light Jigachad recognized him from One Piece. Sun Jo noted his confidence. Mansi Song reviewed his file, seeing his strength was speed, but his special skill was weak, so he rejected him next. A young adult claimed he had sealed the Dark Flame Dragon in his arm. I'm unsure who this reference is, so please share your thoughts. Below he boasted that if unleashed, the Crimson Flame would pale in comparison. Sanjo pointed out his head was ablaze. The next applicant resembled Deku from My Hero Academia, and said that though awakened, he could become an S-rank hero if hired. Sung Jo told him he was in the wrong genre. The next person was rejected, as was another, who claimed to be a secret disciple of the Thunder Emperor. Mansi Song said it was driving him mad, as no decent applicants appeared on the first day. Mansi Song asked about a hymn, and Sung Jo guessed he was sleeping after writing all night. Sung Ju planned to reach out to a Hyen later and proceed with interviews. Seeing the next applicant's file, he nudged Mansi Song to look. Mansi Song asked what it was and was shocked. Choi Yong-sik announced the next applicant, a massive man leaving both speechless. They wondered why a B rank was there. This huge man carried a weapon and introduced himself as Nam Dupal. Mansi Seong asked why a B rank was there. Dupal was direct, asking about their pay. Grinning oddly, some Jew whispered to Mansi Seong about the guild's image. A guild's rank hinges on its highest rank member, so some paid top hunters heavily to join. Exploiting a loophole, Dupal acted superior, saying such chances were rare and urging them to finalize, implying he'd be the guild's face if they paid. Munsa Song said they'd wrap it up. Dupal liked his directness, but Munsa Song rejected him. Dupal grew furious. Munsa Song stood firm, pointing him to the door. Dupal then smashed the table, angrily calling Munsa Song and threatening them. Upala shouted, asking if they wanted to die. Choi Yong-sik checked in furious. Someone behind him asked if the person inside was out. Choi Yong-sik said the mood made it clear. Recognizing the newcomer, Choi Yong-sik was stunned. Manson Se-yeon clarified to the man that they had no use for such trash, and told him to leave. DuPont screamed to kill him. Someone grabbed his hammer turner. He couldn't budge it and asked who the person was. Susan Woo told him to go home quietly. Dupal wondered who he was, then realized it was the demonic sword. Mansi Seong and Sunjo were shocked and confused by his presence. Susan Woo lowered his hood, saying he was there for an interview, and sat on the couch. Everyone was stunned. Later, Mansi Young learned the demonic sword needed to grow stronger, to find a cure for his ill sibling. After achieving ace rank, Shirsang Wu faced a major obstacle. He encountered Ai Hyun and chose to join the guild. Shirsang Wu shared that his time was limited because his sibling was alone in the hospital. Sung Ju quietly asked the boss why he was hesitating, when he should reject Chai Sung Wu outright. He warned that allowing the demonic sword into their guild would elevate them to S rank, which they weren't equipped to manage. Sung Jo continued, saying that associating with someone like Cha Sung Woo would cause endless problems, not just with the gates. He noted that the young man's hesitation showed he understood this too. Cha Sung Woo pleaded with them. Mansi Song, looking at him, remembered his own desperation when he took on a B rank mission. For his family's sake, Mansi Song didn't want a young person to face the same reckless choices he had. He decided to accept Choi Sung Woo. Song Jo was shocked and asked if the boss had lost his mind. Mansi Song explained that Song Jo had previously convinced him about Ahyun. Susum Jo argued it was due to his circumstances. Mansi Shaoling said that was enough, chose to call the demonic sword by his name and welcomed him. They shook hands, and Chai Sang Woo promised to give us all. Mansi Seong shared that he also had a sick son, so he understood Chai Sang Woo's desperation. He offered help whenever Chai Sang Woo needed it. Then, like a dramatic police officer, Ah-hyun burst in, apologizing for his tardiness, looking like he just rolled out of bed. Ah-him asked if everything was already done. Mansajian called him rookie, but said he wasn't the youngest anymore since they had a new member. Ah-him noticed Chae Sang Woo introducing himself and shouted, asking why he was there that day. Jiamansajian's rank climbed to S rank, but the guild descended into disorder. Chu Sangwu was thrilled at the chance to train with the Thunder Emperor's elite. He was eager to learn new skills. The demonic sword stood alone, full of excitement suddenly. Mansi Song sprinted forward, shouting it was time to strike. Youngsik agreed and they all launched their attack together. Xiangju unleashed his quick slash. Youngsik followed suit, and Mansi Song aimed to end it with a downward strike, but they missed the monster, which was too fast. A cute pink bunny with a horn. They shouted to Choi Sung-woo that it was heading his way. The monster got frightened when Choi Sung-woo merely stared at it. He observed the trio, wondering what he was witnessing. Choi Sung-woo questioned if that was supposed to be a fight. He'd heard they recently defeated a B-rank boss, but he found their skills laughable. He wondered why the Thunder Emperor joined such a guild. He recalled asking Ah Hyun why he picked this guild, when he could have researched elsewhere. He couldn't grasp why Ah Hyun insisted on this C-rank guild. Ah Hyun simply said it had to be this one. Sher Sang-woo called it a vague response for a writer. Ah Hyun countered that being a writer didn't mean he was great with words. Then Diane texted him about an SS-rank gate appearing in Brazil. It was urgent, so Ah Hyun had to leave immediately. He told Sher Sang-woo to see for himself. Handing over his notebook and pen, he asked Choi Sung-woo to handle the researching guild. Meanwhile, a blade flew and Yang-sik's sword broke. He shook and cried out for Maria. Yang-sik had even named his sword Maria. Cho Sang-woo watched as Young-sik was consoled by Samju. Mansi Hyung and even the monster Cho Sang-woo felt foolish for having expectations. But since Ai Hyun entrusted him with the guild, he approached his seniors, asked if they had time and invited them for an upgrade. A few hours later the group visited a massive mall, home to the famous Hunter department store. Youngsik pointed excitedly at the statue of the Thunder Emperor, sharing his lifelong dream of meeting him just once. Sher Sung-woo, surprised, turned to Sher Sung-woo, who asked Mansi Song if he was aware of this. Mansi Song chuckled, noting that Young-sik had always been a bit oblivious. Mansi Song expressed gratitude toward Choi Sang-woo. Mansi Song admitted he never imagined receiving a guild rank-up celebration fund, especially one worth a staggering 10 billion, one equivalent to about $6.7 million. Even he would be floored by such a sum. Sher Sung-woo brushed off the thanks, suggesting Mansi Song simply see it as compensation for welcoming him into the guild.
Chu Sang-woo
Came to understand that the Thunder Emperor's reasons for joining the guild were irrelevant. What truly mattered was keeping the Thunder Emperor by his side. Choi Sun-woo grinned and suggested they explore the weapons section. Moments later, Young-sik was being overly dramatic, claiming a weapon was calling out to him, and wondering if it was the legendary Ego Sword. Sun-ju, gripping a massive sword, pondered whether this could be an opportunity to switch up his fighting style. Mansi Yang, holding an axe, inquired if it was the least expensive option. The group had chosen their weapons and prepared to pay, but Cha Sang-woo let out a sigh and told them to put everything back. They looked at him like children about to lose their favorite toys. Cha Sang-woo was at a loss for where to begin. He started with Yang-sik explaining that a department store would never carry something as rare as an ego sword. Yang-sik stubbornly insisted he could hear the weapon's voice. Then Choi Sung-woo turned to Samjo, calling his choice impulsive decision, warning that a heavy sword would hinder his agility. He jokingly asked the guild master if he planned to chop firewood with that axe. Mansian defended his choice, saying it was the most cost-effective.
Yang Seok Underteret
said he still liked his pick, even if it wasn't an ego sword. Song-jo also stood by his sword, claiming it suited him perfectly. He argued that spending more on weapons would make someone stronger. Cho Sang-woo warned that with that attitude, it remains stuck at C rank forever. He stressed that while talent was key for hunters, proper gear was just as critical. They asked him to hold on some. Joe admitted he couldn't speak for the others, but insisted he thought his choice through carefully. He recalled how during a B-rank boss gate raid, they nearly died due to lacking a strong finishing move, so he chose a weapon to address that weakness. Sher Sung-woo was skeptical, questioning how they even managed such a feat with their skill level, as defeating a B-rank boss seemed beyond them. Young-sik took offense, demanding to know what Sher Sung-woo meant by that. Young-sik shouted that despite appearances, they were capable fighters. Song Jo calmly said it was reasonable to question their claim, given that a C-rank guild took down a B-rank boss. Yong-sik admitted he was stunned at the time too, adding that without Ahan's help, it would have been impossible. Chae Sun-woo felt a pang of guilt, suspecting these hunters were taking credit for the Thunder Emperor's victory. In his mind, Chae Sun-woo saw them as parasites, clinging to the Thunder Emperor's success. He sighed inwardly, baffled by why someone as great as the Thunder Emperor stayed with such weak companions. Sung-woo announced he'd select weapons better suited to each of them. The trio, confused by his sudden shift in mood, wondered if they'd done something to upset him. Bulgum was also in the store. The same guy who had flown at top speed the last time they saw him, now acting smug and overconfident. He overheard Seonjo, Ong and Young-sik discussing what might have angered Cha Sung-woo, whose expression had turned intimidating. Young-sik suggested Chae Sun-woo was looking down on them. Mansi Seol brushed it off as a misunderstanding, saying they'd sort it out. Later, Richard Bear approached and mocked them, asking why a group of losers was there. The group bristled at Bulgum's hostility. Mansi Seol decided they should leave. As seen, Bulgum's face had soured his mood. Bulgum sneered, saying trash like them didn't belong in a place like that anyway. Young-sik oddly greeted Bulgum. In return, Bulgum welcomed Choi Young-sik warmly, but Mansi Sedong wondered why Choi Young-sik approached them. Bulgum gave Choi Young-sik a friendly pat, praising his politeness for saying hello first. Choi Young-sik admitted he once admired Bulgog greatly, but now saw him as someone who had fallen far and had become worthless. Choi Young-sik confronted Bulgog, saying he knew all about the gate change incident, where Bulgog left his guild behind to save himself, betraying those who relied on him. He still claimed the title of guild master. Enraged, Bulgok nearly struck Choi Young-sik, calling him arrogant, but someone intervened, stopping his fist, surprising Bulgok. Mansi Yong shared that his greatest life regret was not cutting ties with Bulgok. Earlier he grabbed Bulgok and threw him to the ground, causing Bulgok to groan in pain. Bulgum retorted that Munsasian was still clueless, and boasted that he wasn't some low-ranking hunter like Munsasian. Bulgum warned that Manager Young should regret crossing him, a member of the prestigious B-rank Alima Guild. A man questioned Munsasian's actions toward his guild mate, introducing himself as Choi Dong-hoon, the B-rank Alima Guild master. Meanwhile, Choi Sang-woo examined the sword, noting its suitable length and balanced weight. A notepad slipped from Choi Sang-woo's pocket, a gift from the Thunder Emperor. Inside he found a drawing of a giant skeleton, outlining a strategy for defeating a B-rank boss. He wondered why the Thunder Emperor needed to document, suspecting others were exploiting the Emperor's efforts. Reading further, Chae Sang-woo learned Ah-hyun wrote that his strategy failed, but Chae Sang-woo and Choi Young-sik stepped in with their own plan. The notepad detailed their counterattack, starting with disrupting the boss and then striking its core together. Ultimately, Cho Sang-woo and Choi Young-sik defeated the B-rank boss through their own ingenuity. As noted in the memo, Ah-hyun wondered if this showed true growth, and anticipated future challenges with excitement. Cho Sang-woo, realizing he misjudged them, was startled by a loud crash. Turning, Chae Sang-woo saw Mansi Song on the ground. Dong-hoon accused Mansi Song of insulting an Alima Guild member, grabbing his neck and belittling him as a mere C-rank. Munsa Song insisted it was a misunderstanding, as his store staff rushed over to investigate the disturbance. The store supervisor warned Dong-hoon that causing trouble, even as a VIP, was unacceptable, noting the store's ties to the Hunter Association, which could complicate matters. Dong-hoon apologized but blamed Mansi Song, claiming he started it. Dong-hoon accused the C-rank Mansi Song of boldly insulting his guild member, who was just minding their own business. He then pressured the staff, hinting that VIP treatment affects their performance reviews, and implying they should prioritize him over low-ranking hunters. The staff, speechless, offered no defense. Dong-hoon expressed confidence that the staff would handle it fairly. Sung-ju protested that the elite guild started the conflict, but the staff ignored him, seemingly favoring the higher rank group due to their status. The staff warned that if they didn't cooperate, they'd contact the hunter police. Mansi Young, Choi Young-sik, and Song-jo were stunned. Woolgum insulted them as worthless idiots. Someone then said they understood the situation. Everyone looked at the speaker.
Choi Sang-woo
Explained that they were being told to accept unfair treatment just because their rank was low. Choi Sang-woo clarified that they weren't C-rank. Richard Bear was puzzled. Dong-hoon questioned if they really weren't C-rank. Richard Bear insisted the guild was C-rank. Bol grabbed a kid's shoulder, asking why he appeared suddenly and spoke nonsense.
Cho Sang-woo grip Bungoks urit tai li.
Cho Sang-woo told Bulgog he'd soon see if he was lying, so he should wait. Richard Bear was shocked by the marks on his wrist. He wondered how strong this guy was. Che Sang-woo told the staff to verify the guild's information. The administrator quickly complied. Someone said there was no need to check. Mansi Song confirmed they were C-rank. He lowered his head and apologized for the trouble. Munsa Song said they'd handle their business quietly and leave soon. Cha Song-woo was confused. He asked the guild master what he meant. He told him he didn't have to accept absurd accusations, and that he was supporting him. Munsa Song replied that Cha Song-woo's help would surely resolve things easily, but Mansi Seong clarified that the S rank belonged only to Choi Song-woo. Not them. He said the same about Ah-hyun. They could support each other's growth. But Mansi Seong refused to behave like someone who brags about something false. Choi Song-woo realized his mistake. He felt guilty for misjudging them. Mansi Sion suggested they leave. Song-jo followed along. Che Sang-woo saw that he was the one obsessed with rank, and missed the truth. Dong-hoon shouted at the C ranks to leave or face consequences. That irritated Che Sang-woo. He tripped Dong-hoon, who fell flat on his face. Che Sang-woo grabbed Dong-hoon's neck. He warned that moving would bring trouble. Mansi Song was stunned. Che Sang-woo declared that anyone threatening the guild master in his presence would be dealt with. Che Sang-woo, concerned, asked if it was okay to help that much. Mansi Seong was unsure how to respond. Richard Bear pulled out a blade. Shouting for them to die, he lunged at Chai Sung-woo from behind. Mansi Seong tackled him. Richard Bear hit the ground. Mansi Young asked Che Sun-woo for a bit of help. Richard Bear yelled at the store staff for standing idle. He demanded they act fast, handle the group, and call the hunter police. A store staff asked Richard Bear if he was okay. Richard Bear snapped that he wasn't, urging the staff to remove those pests immediately. But the administrator ignored Richard Bear. He apologized to Che Sang-woo, mentioning the demonic sword. Richard Bear and Dong-hoon were shocked. Che Sang-woo said he understood but wanted something in return. Shi Sang-woo tossed Dong-hoon, who crashed into Richard Bear. Shi Sang-woo told the staff to clean up the mess properly. He then invited the seniors to leave. Dong-hoon ran after them, apologizing profusely to the demonic sword. Cha Song-woo ignored him instead. He told his seniors he already chosen a weapon. They walked past the Thunder Emperor statue. The demonic sword still didn't understand why the Thunder Emperor was tied to that guild, but he was sure of one thing. His thoughts were interrupted when someone called out. Choi Yong-sik asked if the sword he picked was really not an ego sword. Mansi Seong scolded him for talking nonsense again. Yang mentioned that he distinctly heard a voice, prompting teasing from others, who joked that even an ego sword has standards. Cha Song-woo's laughter was adorable, and he found the guild intriguing. At the guild's office, Sian assumed a delivery man brought the weapons. They ordered, but it turned out to be a letter. He opened it with suspicion. Song was stunned when he read the letter's contents. Over the phone, Kyu Kyung Mo told Ae Hyun that his recent writing had become engaging. Ae Hyun was thrilled to hear Kyu Kyung Mo suggest that, with the script for upcoming episodes secure, they could aim for the next phase. When Ah Hyun inquired further, Kukyong Mo explained that he was referring to the launch evaluation, which left Ah Hyun speechless. Kung Kyung Mo clarified that, since the platform conducts the evaluation, they need to wait for the results. But the company's internal feedback was very positive. Ah Hyun promised to keep writing, and Kung Kyung Mo encouraged him. After the call, Ah Hyun was overjoyed, as it meant his writing had resonated. Though it was only an evaluation, it marked significant progress. I haven't resolved to maintain his momentum until the launch. He worked until dusk, then night fell. Dark circles formed under his eyes that he hadn't written a word. He realized he had exhausted all recent guild events for material, and had nothing left for the next episode. He wished something noteworthy would happen at the association building, to inspire him to handside, frustrated, saying it was driving him mad. He couldn't believe it was already time for that chaotic feast again. The biannual Top 10 Guilds banquet in South Korea, where the top guilds gather to promote cooperation. However, the banquet had lost its original intent and become a stage for power struggles and rivalries. Now the battlefield it left a hand to mediate and clean up the mess. Just thinking about it upset his stomach. He didn't even understand why the association continued hosting. Ultimately, the 4 great guilds would steal the spotlight. Why my guild non-target had appeared. But it wasn't enough to challenge the decades-long dominance of South Korea's top 4 guilds. Dahan reviewed the lists, seeing the same names and rankings repeatedly, which bored him. Then something caught his eyes, sparking his interest and making him smile. He thought this year's event would be exciting. He instructed Secretary Wu to begin preparations for the banquet. Curious, Secretary Wu noted that the chairman usually despised the event, but the chairman replied that this year's banquet felt unique. What Dang noticed was that Gao Mensiyang was listed at the guild building. Du Huang gazed out a window, remarking how fast time had passed. Another man meditating read the letter and said, "It was perfect timing to catch up with everyone." This guild master resembled a monk holding his beads. He remarked that it was time to face those repulsive people again. In a garden, someone hoped the banquet would bring a worthy opponent. To test his new sword, another person walking the street, after dealing with others in an alley, cursed and said she didn't want to attend, tossing the invitation aside. Sun Ju Man Se Si, Young and Choi Young Sik read the invitation to South Korea's top 10 guilds banquet. Cho Young Sik questioned if they were really going, while some Joe wondered if it was real and not a dream. They were shocked to learn they ranked 6th. Mansi Song paled, wondering how things had spiraled so far. He's only a C rank, so he couldn't picture himself attending. Sun Jo mentioned that the guild master would be dining with S-rank hunters. Mansi Song imagined himself as the meal, paying the price for overstepping. He passed out. Sun Jo and Choi Young Sik were shocked to see him collapse, and rushed to help him. Cho Song Woo chuckled, saying there's never a calm day. Ai Hun nodded, and Song Jo noted, it's convenient, since Ai Hun could gather material for his writing at the banquet. Song Jo recalled that the Thunder Emperor had attended before. Che Song Woo remarked it had been a while since Ai Hun went, but seeing Ai Hun's disgusted expression, Ai Hun firmly declared he wouldn't return. He sat at the table looking uninterested. People discussed his accomplishments, mentioning his role among the 12 apostles, expecting him to be the world's strongest hunter. Ai-hin seemed annoyed. He didn't understand what being the strongest hunter meant, or why they were so thrilled about it. They raised a toast to Ai-hin board, grimaced as he recalled that moment, and said he wasn't going. Mansishan also refused to attend. Everyone turned to him. He radiated a dark vibe upon hearing Ai-hin was skipping the banquet, and questioned why they thought the guild reached S rank. He asked for the thought was behind Gaoman Se Seong's 6th place ranking in Korea's guilds. He insisted that, like it or not, they had to attend the banquet. His terrifying presence loomed. He asked again if they were refusing. The two, frightened, trembled, hugged each other, and agreed to go. Mansian called it a wise decision. I can recall the past events he disliked but felt resigned. Since things had reached that point, he figured he might as well attend and find writing inspiration. The banquet started and guests arrived. They shook a man's hand, expressing eagerness to work together. All A-rank guilds joined the crowd, and the media team went crazy. S-rank guilds began entering. They hadn't thought of them. Parthenum, the 2nd guild, followed by 9 Dragons in 4th. Limitless Guild 3rd and Non-Target Guild 5th also appeared. The media team whispered that S-ranked guilds carried a unique presence. They noted that, with Terrence rising fame, non-target's position seemed stronger than ever. Still another guild arrived, led by Du Huang with several members. This was Guardian Gate Guild. The media found them all inspiring as they held the top rank, with 4 S-rank hunters. No surprise, they're dubbed the kings of Korea's hunter world. Then a car pulled up. Mansi Song scolded Choi Young Sik for his driving. Mansa Song wished he'd driven instead. Choi Young Sik explained he just gotten his license and wanted to try. Choi Young Sik teases that protagonists always arrive late. Mansa Song, irritated, sarcastically thanked Choi Young Sik for making him the star. Mansi Seong noticed the crowd's shocked stares. He asked Sunjo if they were so late that everyone was gaping. Sunjo replied, there's no way they were staring because they were protagonists. Some onlookers murmured, saying it had been a while since they'd seen something so amusing. The guild masters of Parthenon and 9 dragons were discussing whether a group was the new rank guild. The Parthenon guild master questioned if those individuals were bold, or simply reckless. Guardian Gate had held the top rank for 50 years, their pride equally strong since it was an official event, the first banquet in 2 years. Entering last and stealing attention from Guardian Gate was almost like declaring war. When they saw the Sword Emperor laughing, their jaws dropped. The 9 Dragons Guild Master remarked that Du Huang might have softened with age, but he wouldn't let something like that pass easily. They wondered who the Sword Emperor was looking at, and noticed the demonic sword. The Parthenon Guild Master realized that every rank hunter is a vital asset. Each rank hunter holds the power to change the balance, especially the demonic sword. A genius who reached S rank in only 2 years. Every guild wanted to recruit him. The Parthenon Guild Master knew the demonic sword had publicly declined all guild offers, but that was just his official position. He suspected a personal connection between the Sword Emperor and the demonic sword, which could disrupt all their plans. Glancing at the 9 Sword Guild Master, who nodded back, the Parthenon Guild Master saw that Du Huang was pleased. Duvan hadn't expected to see a Hyun, assuming a Hyun would find such an event uncomfortable. The Limitless Guild Master observed the demonic sword, recognizing his genius but noting that he hadn't yet broken his limits, suggesting the demonic sword wasn't ready to challenge him. A guild member interrupted, trembling as he asked about someone's identity. The guild master thought he met the demonic sword, saying he might seem overwhelming to the member, but the member clarified he meant the person beside him, pointing at Ai Hyun, and said he sensed an overwhelming power from him. The guild master claimed that even if everyone attacked together, they'd stand no chance against him.